Chapter 2261. MN, don't worry Big Brother. I will definitely recruit a disciple that Big Brother will be satisfied with. Walu started to admire Chen Shang even more. When he returned to the inner sect, he heard the description of Chen Zhang's murder from the disciples present. After Walu left, Feng Wu asked, "Where are we going next?" Feng Clan, Chen Shang said. The Feng clan has Bisheng Immortal Lotus. It is a divine medicine used to refine 3 Lotus Dan. I must obtain it. So right now, I will first go to the Feng clan and then sell it. Feng Wu, don't worry. With me by your side, you don't have to worry about being forced by the Feng clan to marry others. Chen Shang smiled at Feng Wu. I believe you. Feng Wu smiled and nodded. Not only was Chen Zhang's pill refining powerful, his strength was also terrifyingly strong. She had already known when she saw Chen Shang killing the armored crocodile in Great Heaven School's Yuzhen. Chen Shang was asking Feng Wu to bring him to the Feng clan. The city where the Feng clan is located is called Wind City. It is also a relatively large and famous city. All the large cities use the transmission array that leads to the Wind City. Feng Wu said as he brought Chen Shang to Transmitting Square. In the blink of an eye, Chen Shang and Chen Shang had already arrived at the Wind City, which was very far away from the Kang Cloud City. Chen Shang, how do you plan to buy Bisheng Immortal Lotus from Feng clan? Feng Wu asked. If you use a lot of shopping bone level Dan, will that work? Chen Shang had used many shopping bone level Dan to buy the Qingxin spiritual lotus before. It should be possible. We'll know when we talk to them. Feng Wu said. Feng clan is also lacking shopping bone level Dan. If you offer a high enough price, they will definitely give it to you. At this time, Feng Wu had changed her appearance, and was not worried about being discovered by the Feng clan. She brought Chen Shang quickly to walk on the streets, and arrived at a pawnshop in the Feng clan. This is the biggest pawnshop in Feng clan. You can even pawn godly pellets here. Many small and medium-sized sects do this. Big powers would not say anything. Feng Wu said to Chen Shang, the shopkeeper of this pawnshop has more power. If you can meet him, then you can hope to talk about the Bisheng Immortal Lotus with the Feng clan. Chen Shang nodded his head and then entered the pawnshop with Feng Wu. There were a lot of people inside, all of them lined up to purchase items, in exchange for Shen Yuan Stone S. After entering, Feng Wu pointed in a direction. There was a door there, and outside the door, there were 2 people guarding it. This door is specially used to receive distinguished guests. Go straight ahead and take out something that shows your esteemed status. Feng Wu sent a sound transmission to Chen Shang. Chen Shang thought for a moment, then walked over. The guard immediately stopped him, and just as he was about to speak, Chen Shang took out a small box. The 2 guards recognized the shopping bone level Dan and immediately opened the door for Chen Shang. After entering, Chen Shang and Feng Wu were led to a private room by a lady. Our manager is currently talking with other important guests. He will be here soon, so please wait patiently. The woman smiled sweetly and left the room. Chen Shang and Feng Wu waited for less than an hour before the shopkeeper entered the secret room. It could be seen that he was really busy, and had received a lot of important guests. The shopkeeper was middle-aged, and upon entering, he said with a smile, "Friend, when you first came in, you revealed dozens of shopping bone level Dan. I wonder what you wanted to pawn. Or is there something else you need?" Quote. Bisheng Immortal Lotus. Chen Shang went straight to the point. I know that your Feng clan has Bisheng Immortal Lotus. If you know about the recent events, then you must know that there was a Qingxin spiritual lotus that was previously sold to 708 shopping bone level Dan, and our Bisheng Immortal Lotus is only more expensive than the Qingxin spiritual lotus, so it definitely isn't low. If you are ready, I can talk to the elders of our Feng clan and have them come over as soon as possible. The shopkeeper never thought he was here to buy Bisheng Immortal Lotus. He really couldn't make the decision. Chen Shang took out a large jade case, placed it on the table, and then opened it. Inside were all milky white shopping bone level Dan, which at one glance, could be seen to be of high quality. The shopkeeper saw so many white shopping bone level Dan and couldn't help but to suck in a breath of cold air. Even though he was the shopkeeper of this big pawnshop, he had never seen so many shopping bone level Dan before. I will inform the elders and ask them to come as soon as possible. The shopkeeper walked out of the private room, while the elder came in quickly, so Chen Shang and Feng Wu only waited for a little while. When an old man came in and saw the shopping bone level Dan S on the table, he was secretly shocked. When Chen Shang saw him coming over, he immediately put away the box. 800 pills. Chen Shang smiled faintly. How is it? Bisheng Immortal Lotus S are a bit better than Qingxin Spiritual Lotus S, and Qingxin Spiritual Lotus S can be sold for 780, so you only need to add 20 of them. The old man quickly asked, how about 900? Chen Shang frowned, he pretended to consider it for a while and sighed, alright, but you have to let me see how good the Bisheng Immortal Lotus is. The old man took out a jade box and opened it. Inside was a lotus carved from jade. When the light shone into it, the entire flower became transparent, and it even emitted a silvery white radiance. It was extremely beautiful. Under our careful care, the quality is excellent. The old man said. These are 900 shopping bone level Dan. Chen Shang took out a large jade box and placed it on the table. The old man nodded, and then started to count the quantity with the shopkeeper. Very quickly, they finished counting. They were very happy, because the quality of these shopping bone level Dan were all the best. Feng Wu was secretly shocked in her heart. She guessed that these divine pellets were all made by Chen Shang when he was in closed-door cultivation earlier. To be able to refine so many in such a short period of time, she really couldn't understand no matter how hard she tried. Here you go. The old man passed the Bisheng Immortal Lotus over to Chen Shang. Chen Shang carefully examined it once more, nodded his head, and placed it into the ring. After the trade was completed, Chen Shang and Feng Wu immediately left the pawnshop and strolled around. I want to leave the Wind City as soon as possible. I'm worried that they will find out that I'm here. It wouldn't be good if I get into trouble. Feng Wu sent a sound transmission to Chen Shang, and at this moment, she was even more cautious. That elder from before didn't see me before, so he didn't notice it. We're being followed. It's that elder and manager who are following us. I wonder what they are planning to do. Chen Shang sent a sound transmission to him. Feng Wu, bring me out of the city. Let's stay far away from the Wind City to see what their purpose is. Knowing that she was being followed, Feng Wu became nervous, but thinking that Chen Shang was very strong, she calmed down. She was afraid of Feng Clan, because she thought that he was too weak, and now not only did she have the powerful Chen Shang by her side, she had also grown a lot, so she was no longer afraid of Feng Clan. Chapter 2262. Chen Shang and Feng Wu both walked very quickly, and after walking for a distance, the elders and the shopkeeper of the Feng clan were still following them. Until now, Feng Wu had not discovered the two people following them, which was what Chen Shang had told her. What are they trying to do? Do you want to find out our identities? Feng Wu sent a sound transmission to Chen Shang, but she was no longer so nervous, because she saw that Chen Shang was very calm. Regarding this kind of thing, she did not have much experience. We'll know once we leave the city. Anyway, it won't be anything good. Chen Shang said. Don't worry, their strength should be considered good in the Feng clan, but it isn't too strong in my eyes. Just like the Great Heaven School, the Feng clan was at most slightly stronger than the Great Heaven School, and the Great Clan Elder of the Great Heaven School was easily killed by Chen Shang, so the following elder would definitely not be any stronger than the Great Clan Elder of the Great Heaven School. Thinking of this, Feng Wu could finally relax. Feng Wu brought Chen Shang to take a shortcut and very quickly, they arrived at the city gate. The Feng clan elders and the pawnshop manager were still very tight on each other. Let's leave the city, Chen Shang said. Feng Wu brought Chen Shang out of the city gate, and the two of them started sprinting. Not long after, they left the city, and arrived at the mountain forest. Along the way, their speed wasn't very fast. This was also what Chen Shang wanted to see what the two people behind them were planning. Chen Shang and Feng Wu entered a gorge, and just as they were about to fly out of the gorge, two people suddenly appeared in front of them. It's indeed Feng Qing and the shopkeeper. Feng Wu immediately transmitted to Chen Shang, do you want to take action now? Not now, Chen Shang said. If you want to make a move, leave Feng Qing to me, he will be the elder of the Feng clan. Feng Wu said, I want to see how much stronger I am compared with him. All right, Chen Shang immediately nodded. Feng Qing and the pawnshop manager had increased their speed a moment ago and flew over from high up in the sky before landing at the entrance to the valley to intercept Chen Shang and the others. You two, what do you mean by this? Could it be that he wants to go back on the agreement with the Bisheng Immortal Lotus? Chen Shang said. We feel that the Bisheng Immortal Lotus is worth 2,000 shopping bone level Dan. You only gave us 900, and you still owe us 1,001. Feng Qing smirked. If you don't give it to me, don't think of leaving this place alive. You owe us 1,001 shopping bone level Dan. Quote. If you go back on your word, wouldn't it have been fine if we didn't do business? I'll just return the Bisheng Immortal Lotus back to you guys. Chen Shang took out a jade box. Then you must at least return the 900 bone level Dan to me. I don't have 1,100 bone level Dan with me right now. Quote. Since you are unable to repay your debt, then use the Bishung Immortal Lotus to repay it. The pawnbroker laughed and took out a large hammer. Chen Shang frowned, and said, your Feng clan is considered a well-known family, yet you guys are so despicable. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at if this gets out? Quote. Feng Qing laughed coldly, of course not, because all of you will soon become dead, how will you spread the word? Chen Shang summoned his heavenly magic sword, and seeing him take out that terrifying broken sword, Feng Wu was secretly shocked in his heart. Last time, Chen Shang used this sword to cut the armored crocodile into two. I'll leave that old man to you, Chen Shang said to Feng Wu. Feng Wu had said before that she would spar with an elder of the Feng clan. With that, Chen Shang flew towards the pawnshop owner. His speed was extremely fast. Both the pawnshop owner and Feng Qing did not expect that Chen Shang would actually take the initiative to attack. I really don't know where all of you get the confidence to actually think that you can kill us. Chen Shang looked as though he had rushed over, but when he was about to fly halfway, he suddenly appeared behind the pill shop manager. As he said that, he held his sword with one hand and slashed lightly, as if he was slashing through the air. A pale white semicircle of light flashed in the air. The heavenly magic sword gently cut apart the body of the shopkeeper, slicing him in half. How could he die so easily? I thought you were so strong. If I knew earlier, I wouldn't have used my sword. Chen Zhang's face revealed a look of astonishment. Feng Wu was still standing at his original position, while Feng Qing was still standing beside the pawnshop manager. Looking at the body that was split into two, his face was filled with shock. This pawnshop owner's divine deity was at 90%, which in the Wind City and even the Feng clan was considered relatively strong. But now, it was like tofu, being easily sliced into two by Chen Shang. Feng Wu immediately reacted as she shot forward, her arms filled with an extremely violent energy. It was actually a vibrating power, and as the divine power passed through her 4 bones and more than 80 divine deity, it became even more violent. Feng Qing felt a burst of energy approaching him and wanted to dodge, but he was worried that Chen Shang would attack. At this moment, he was extremely frightened. Both he and the pawnshop manager never thought that these two seemingly young people would have such terrifying power. Feng Wu struck out his palm, causing her oscillating divine power to rush out and transform into an invisible force. When she was still quite a distance away from Feng Qing, she had already charged over and crashed into his body. Feng Qing initially did not plan to dodge it, because when he moved, he was definitely being watched by Chen Shang. Bang! Feng Wu's oscillating god force was very strong. The shock wave was like the impact of the mountains and rivers, sending Feng Qing flying, but he looked fine. It could be seen that his divine armor was extremely strong, able to absorb such a strong attack force. Chen Shang watched from the side, and did not make a move, but now, he could already see that Feng Wu's strength was stronger than Feng Qing's. Feng Wu had already predicted that Feng Qing would use divine armor to block, so after she struck out with her palm, he estimated that Feng Qing would be blown away. Not long after he landed, Feng Wu's fist had already fiercely smashed towards Feng Qing's head. Ruua! Feng Wu's consecutive punches carried an extremely berserk vibrating power, which pierced through Feng Qing's defense and shook his head. Just these few punches alone made Feng Qing feel dizzy, golden stars shining in his eyes. Old bastard, look who I am. Feng Wu took off his disguise. Feng Qing looked at Feng Wu's face in a daze and stuttered, you are Feng Wu, you little slut. You're courting death. Feng Wu was furious. He fiercely stomped down on Feng Qing's abdomen. The shaking power penetrated through the divine armor and entered Feng Qing's body, shaking Feng Qing's body until it was like mud. Chen Shang anxiously walked over and used soul-absorbing devil spell on Feng Qing, absorbing his divine power and divine soul. Then, he mixed them together and took out the 900 shopping bone level Dan S. This guy actually has a Shangpin bone level Dan and 10 middle grade bones gods. He's pretty rich. Chen Shang laughed. Chapter 2263. Feng Wu saw that Feng Qing was near his last breath and was extremely excited. I am no longer afraid of Feng clan, I only think of using me to exchange for more benefits. Chen Shang took out the Chuangshi god furnace and released a small ball of flame from it. Then, he controlled this ball of flame to fall onto Feng Qing's body, and instantly burned Feng Qing's body into ashes. Seeing how terrifying the flames were, Feng Wu immediately took a few steps back. What kind of flame is this? This is too scary. Feng Wu was so scared that his face turned pale. Don't be afraid, under my control, these flames will not burn you. Even if you touch them, it will be fine. Chen Shang laughed. Feng Wu stuck out his tongue and laughed. Looks like these fellows think that there are too many shopping bone level Dan and they actually came back to return them to you. You have gotten the Bisheng Immortal Lotus for nothing. Quote. When he saw Feng Qing following them, he had already guessed that the other party was planning to attack them and retrieve the Bisheng Immortal Lotus. He had also encountered this kind of thing before, which was why he intentionally lured Feng Qing out of the city. Where are we going now? You still lack one type of divine lotus, and you can refine 3 lotus Dan to cure your wife's poison. Feng Wu's eyes lit up, and said, how about we go to Kang Cloud City to find that old man who knows everything, and maybe ask him a few questions. Yes, why didn't I think of it? I should have tried it long ago. Chen Shang laughed. I didn't think about it before. I've always thought that he only knew a few things that had nothing to do with pills. Let's give it a try first. Feng Wu said. After that, the two of them returned to the Wind City, and via the Feng City's transmission array, they arrived at Kang Cloud City. Chen Shang and Feng Wu went to look for the mysterious old man, but when the old man saw them, he just chuckled. If I'm not wrong, the heavenly Aquarius should be in your hands. The old man laughed. He was so well informed, he knew about Yu Zhen the moment he was killed by Chen Shang. At that time, he was very surprised about Chen Zhang's strength. How could he be so powerful, and even daring to kill Yu Zhen in front of everyone? Chen Shang did not reply, he only smiled. Old mister, we're looking for you to inquire about the whereabouts of a type of divine medicine. I wonder if you have any reliable news? Feng Wu asked with a smile. Go ahead. The old man laughed. Let's see what you are asking for first, then I will tell you the price. Purple Heart Lotus, Chen Shang said. The old man thought for a moment, then said, a single shopping bone level Dan, I'll tell you guys. You're really evil, each time you get more expensive than the last. A single shopping bone level Dan is worth 1 billion. Feng Wu immediately said. Chen Shang never thought that the other party would offer such a high price, much higher than before. Do you still want to know the whereabouts of the Purple Heart Lotus? After I tell you the news, you all have a great chance of obtaining the Purple Heart Lotus. If you were a little slower, it would be gone. The old man laughed. Chen Shang had already taken out a shopping bone level Dan. He didn't feel bad about it, it was just that Feng Wu had gotten used to trying to haggle. Old mister, please speak. Chen Shang said, all he was missing was the Purple Heart Lotus, so even if he gathered all of the 3 Lotus Dan's divine medicine, he would soon be able to refine the antidote pill. On Earth stage stars called Qingzan, in about 3 days, a few big shots of powers will gather there, and they will conduct an exchange. The condition to get in is to get precious divine medicines or divine pellets. Of course, you have to pay a fee of 5 million Shenyuan stone. The old man said as he took out a piece of paper and wrote down the location in detail and passed it to Chen Shang. Only in the 1000 Ancient City will we be able to find the transmission array to Cyan Profound Star. After we reach the Cyan Profound Star, you all have to be careful. That place will be a bit more chaotic. The old man said. After finding out the whereabouts of the Purple Heart Lotus, Chen Shang and Feng Wu immediately rushed over to the 1000 Ancient City, and then through the 1000 Ancient City to teleport to Cyan Profound Star. They spent a lot of money on teleporting. Fortunately, Feng Wu had amassed a lot of Shenyuan stone in the past few years, and she did not need to buy any bone level Dan now, so she did not care about the Shenyuan stone. Earth stage stars is just not the same, the difference is too big compared to heaven stage stars. After Chen Shang arrived at the Cyan Profound Star, he felt as if his breathing was a little uncomfortable. Of course, this is how the Earth stage stars is. Staying in the heaven stage stars for a long time, it would be hard to get used to going to other stars. I don't really care about it anymore. I have long since gotten used to hunting special god beasts and running all over the place. Feng Wu smiled and said, we should be safer here, at least we don't have to worry about Everlasting Mountain. Now that Chen Shang and Feng Wu had not changed their appearances, they used their original appearances to head towards the trade fair. Chen Shang and Feng Wu arrived at the city mentioned by the old man. This city was relatively small, and also very cold. They couldn't understand why a trade fair would be held in such a city. Just as Chen Shang was feeling suspicious, Yue said, the main reason why they are hosting such a trade fair in this place is to avoid the law enforcers. Some law enforcers like to mess with this kind of thing, because this kind of thing is against the rules. Therefore, these kinds of trade fairs would usually be held in private, where friends would pass the information to each other and the enforcers would not know about it. Quote, Feng Wu and Chen Shang arrived outside a villa at the side of the small city. When he and Feng Wu were about to enter, the guards at the entrance of the villa were already extremely vigilant. Who brought you here? A guard arrived. Yes, an old mister in Kang Cloud City who knows everything. Feng Wu had an idea. The guard nodded and said, please enter. Chen Shang never thought that the old man would actually have such face. Without even saying his name, the guards had already let them in. This made him feel that the old man was the person behind this trade fair. After entering the villa, there was immediately someone who came to receive Chen Shang and the others. Chen Shang invited them to a guest hall, and then there was an old man who was specially responsible for confirming their qualifications to participate. People who participate in trade fairs usually have something to exchange with. I wonder what you guys will take out to trade with others. The old man asked gently. Will that do? Chen Shang took out 2 Shengpin bone level danes and asked. The old man quickly nodded, enough. Shengpin bone level danes could not be considered expensive compared to many high-level divine medicines, but they were extremely rare and would only appear at regular auctions by large powers. Feng Wu paid the price of 5 million Shen Yuan stone, because she was only going to accompany Chen Shang, she had to pay it by herself. Chen Zhang's main goal was the Purple Heart Lotus, and he had made sufficient preparations this time. This was a trade fair. If the shopping bone level danes were not enough, he could use the King Grade S divine medicines to exchange, and the 6 realms God Cups divine medicines were all double shared. In another 2 days, the trade fair would begin. In this period of time, Chen Shang used the 6 realms God Cup to complement the large number of purple pearls that he had condensed before, and replicated the Bishun Immortal Lotus. Chapter 2264. Even when Chen Shang used all his purple pearls that he had condensed in the past few days, he could only produce 1 Bishun Immortal Lotus, and it was so together with the 6 realms God Cup and the 6 realms mirrors. If he wanted to make another one, it would take more than 10 days. On the morning of the start of the trade fair, there were people who came to receive Chen Shang and Feng Wu, and brought them to the side of a house in the villa. After passing through a formation array, they entered a large hall in the belly of the mountain. Chen Shang and Feng Wu both felt that the 5 million Shen Yuan stone was worth it. Chen Shang and Feng Wu sat at a big round table. There were still 18 empty seats at the round table, and this hall only had 1 table. There were only 20 people at the trade fair, which was not as big as Chen Shang had imagined. Chen Shang and the rest were the first to arrive. After that, there were more people that came in. They all sat on the luxurious chairs, and at this time, some people came over to pour the fragrant tea. You are Feng Wu? A middle-aged man shouted in surprise. Feng Wu was also shocked. When she saw the middle-aged man, her eyes revealed a look of fear, but thinking about Chen Shang at her side, she immediately dispelled her fear, and coldly said, I never thought clan leader Feng would actually recognize this little girl. Chen Shang immediately understood. The middle-aged man was the patriarch of the Feng clan, Feng Hao. He was also the strongest in the Feng clan. If you have any grudges, settle them outside the venue. An old man said softly. Feng Hao had always been looking for Feng Wu, and had even heard that Feng Wu was in the Everlasting Mountain. But not long ago, he heard that something had happened to Feng Wu in the Everlasting Mountain and he was currently being hunted down by the Everlasting Mountain. Feng Wu was related to this man. When Feng Hao sat down, he stared at Chen Shang. He had already guessed that the man who started a massacre at the Everlasting Mountain was the one beside Feng Wu. People arrived one by one and soon, the seats were full. Now the trade fair has begun. Here, as long as you agree on the price, you can buy anything. An old man said, please follow the order and take out your things. The first is this young Master Shen. Chen Shang immediately took out a jade box and opened it, saying, 2 Shengpin bone level dan. The other 18 people secretly calculated in their hearts about how many Shen Yuan stone they had. If they could get them, that would be good. May I know how to change it? The old man in charge of the trade fair asked. I heard that someone here will take out the King Grade and Divine Medicine, the Purple Heart Lotus. Today, I want to exchange it for the Purple Heart Lotus. Chen Shang said. Feng Hao said as he furrowed his brows, I also want to exchange for the Purple Heart Lotus, and I've already made an agreement with you a long time ago. An old man said, this will depend on what Elder Wang, who possesses the Purple Spirit Lotus, says. He looked at a black-robed elder. The old man stroked his beard and took out a small, transparent box. Inside was a purple lotus flower. This lotus flower looked like it was made out of translucent amethyst crystal. One could see a purple light emitting from the center of the lotus. This was the purple heart lotus. Clan leader Feng, although you have an agreement with me, it does not mean that I will definitely exchange with you. You all know how precious the purple heart lotus is. This is a king-grade divine medicine, and one that can be used to refine the precious 3 lotus danas within the king-grade divine pellets. Elder Wang stroked his beard again. The two of you take out something that you want to exchange for my purple heart lotus. I think that would make me like it. Young man, if you think that you can get 2 Shengpin bone level dan, then you're too naive. Feng Hao laughed coldly, then took out a large jade box, which he placed on the large table. After opening it, they were filled with shopping bone level danas. The more common way of trading is 1,000 shopping bone level dan. Feng Hao said indifferently, then shot a disdainful glance at Chen Shang. Everyone started to exclaim in surprise. Previously, they had heard that the Everlasting Mountains Qingxin spiritual lotuses were only auctioned to 708, but now Feng Hao had taken out 1,000 of them. Chen Shang laughed. Amongst these 1,000 shopping bone level dan, many of their quality are relatively average. At most, it can be counted as 800, aren't you trying to cheat me? Everyone nodded. With a sweep of their consciousness, they could roughly tell the quality of these bone level dan. Why don't you take out something decent? Other than those heavenly star great leaders, do you think that it's easy to take out 1,000 shopping bone level dan? Feng Hao scoffed. Don't think that just because you have 2 Shengpin bone level danas that you are so amazing. Chen Shang let out a soft sigh and then also took out a big box. After he roughly summarized the box, the medicinal fragrance inside gushed out like gushing spring water. I also have 1,000 shopping bone level dan. This isn't too hard for me. Chen Shang smiled faintly, looked at Elder Wang and said, Elder Wang, you should be able to differentiate between my good and his good. Everyone's eyes were straight as they looked at the high-quality bone level danas in the box. They used their spiritual sense to scan the box a few times, and each pellet was of the high quality and very fresh. Feng Hao took a deep breath. His heart was filled with anger. He never thought that the young man who had started a massacre in the Everlasting Mountain would have such a deep background. When he saw Feng Wu sneering at him, his heart was filled with rage. He was actually looked down upon by this woman. What made him secretly hate was that Feng Wu was from Feng clan. Feng Wu should have gotten benefits if he found a good man, but because of the conflict he had with Feng Wu ran away from home. Although Chen Shang was surprised to see Elder Wang, there was disappointment in his eyes, because this was not what he wanted. The purple heart lotus was extremely important to Chen Shang, so he would not let go of this opportunity. He took out another small jade box, and after he opened it, everyone present took a deep breath. Elder Wang, choose between the two. When Chen Shang saw Elder Wang's eyes shining, he knew there was hope. As everyone was admiring these bone level dan, they were also very curious about where Chen Zhang's bone level dan came from. This pill formula was only owned by the powerhouses of Heavenly Star Realm, and this young man actually had so many. He definitely did not buy them, and the quality of the bone level dan was not the same. I choose 10 Shengpin bone level dan. This was already a huge profit for him. Normally, even if he had more Shen Yuan stone, it would be difficult to get them. Very quickly, Chen Shang and Elder Wang finished their exchange. Elder Wang left, but Chen Shang did not leave, which made the others secretly rejoice in their hearts. In their eyes, Chen Shang was a tycoon. Chapter 2265. Chen Shang continued to stay in the trading center only to see what good stuff he would have next. At the same time, he also planned to anger the patriarch of Feng clan, Feng Hao. As the patriarch, Feng Hao must have known about this matter. Chen Shang guessed that the reason he came to this trading center was to see if the Bisheng Immortal Lotus would appear here, or if he could exchange it for the King Grade's divine medicine that was comparable to the Bisheng Immortal Lotus. Although Feng Hao was the patriarch, there were still a few factions in the Feng clan. The Bisheng Immortal Lotus were under his control, and if they were to lose them now, they would definitely be scolded by the people from the other factions. Feng Hao, don't you have a Bisheng Immortal Lotus? Could it be that you plan to attack them this time? A middle-aged man laughed and asked, I am very interested in your Bisheng Immortal Lotus. Feng Hao snorted, Bisheng Immortal Lotus is the clan-protecting treasure of my Feng clan, and furthermore, it's a Bisheng Immortal Lotus that can condense 3 lotus seeds. I'm afraid you can't afford it. Chen Shang secretly nodded his head. The lotus seeds that the divine lotus seed had condensed were also very important. They could be used to concoct pills if the quality of the lotus seed was high enough. Right now, Chen Shang had already obtained 3 divine lotuses, the everlasting mountain's Qingxin spiritual lotus, and the purple heart lotus he had just obtained were all only worth 1 lotus seed. Uaa, place the spirit seed into the 6 realms God cup, and then put the Bisheng immortal lotus into the 6 realms God cup. See if you can quickly produce a lotus seed, Chen Shang said. When he first entered the 9-star God realm, the spirit seed he obtained combined with the 6 realms God cup's usage already had the effect of making the divine medicine mature. He hadn't tried it yet, but he had Uaa plant a lot of spirit seed inside it. The middle-aged man who was ridiculed by Feng Hao was unconvinced. He took out a black box and said, "Your Bisheng immortal lotus S may not even be able to compare to the things inside my box." Everyone was surprised as they looked at the black box. The middle-aged man opened the lid, revealing a large black fruit. What is this? Although everyone could see that it was a fruit, they did not know what kind of fruit it was. You don't know. This is called the bone-level fruit. After eating it, you will be able to condense bones. The middle-aged man said loudly, "I received 2 back then, and if I eat 1, I will condense bones." Feng Hao sneered, "This is just one side of your story. I, Feng Hao, have lived for so long, and I have a great understanding of divine medicines, but I have never heard of the bone-level fruit you speak of. It's up to you whether you want to believe it or not, but I can use my life as a guarantee that after eating it, you will be able to sense the existence of new bones, and even if you don't immediately condense it out, you will feel the vague existence of bones. As long as you focus on cultivating that bones in the future, you can condense it out very quickly, and it won't be like how many bone-level dan you eat." The middle-aged man was very confident. "I already have 5 bones now. The 5th bones was formed from this fruit. Back then there was no pain at all." Everyone present looked at each other, shook their heads, expressed their disbelief. They were sure that if they ate it, they would be able to condense bones. This was just too shocking. Star Law Divine Realm had existed for many years, but they had never heard of such a fruit. Chen Shang also asked Uaa, and Uaa also indicated that she had never heard of it before. Feng Hao sneered, "Do you see that? No one here believes what you said. You only have 1 fruit, and you are the only one who has eaten it. It is very difficult to prove anything unless you make me eat it. Don't even think about it." The middle-aged man was somewhat angry because no one believed him. He put away the black box. "Brother, I am interested in your fruit. How can you exchange it with me? But let me explain first. I don't have much Shengpin bone-level dan left on me right now, not even 10. Chen Shang said. "I am Zhe Long, thank you for believing me. Even if that is the case, I will not easily exchange it with you. If you do not have enough Shengpin bone-level dan S, do you have any more valuable divine medicines?" Zhe Long stood up and cupped his hands towards Chen Shang. No one believed that his words made him feel awkward, but Chen Shang had expressed his interest towards his fruits, which was why he paid his respects to Chen Shang. Chen Shang thought for a while, then said, "You just said that you are interested in Bisheng Immortal Lotus, right?" Zhe Long nodded his head, and said, "I am interested, but there isn't enough Bisheng Immortal Lotus to exchange for this fruit of mine, unless you condense 4 lotus seeds." 4 lotus seeds? It would take hundreds of thousands of years to achieve that, and 500,000 years for my Feng clan's Bisheng Immortal Lotus to condense the 3rd lotus seed. Feng Hao said in disdain, "Don't tell me you expect this kid to have Bisheng Immortal Lotus." Chen Shang smiled lightly, "I really do have one." Feng Hao was immediately shocked, because their Feng clan had just lost his Bisheng Immortal Lotus and the elder had already died. He did not even know where his Bisheng Immortal Lotus had gone. Just now, Yue had told Chen Shang that she had used a large number of Spirit Seed S, in conjunction with the 6 Realms God Cup S, to successfully make the Bisheng Immortal Lotus give birth to a lotus seed. Chen Shang now had 2 Bisheng Immortal Lotus. One was copied, and it even had a lotus seed born, and the whole was much bigger than the one he had before. "Oh, if little brother has a Bisheng Immortal Lotus, can you take it out to broaden our horizons?" An old man laughed and said, "You don't look like someone stingy. You will definitely let us have a look at the world, right?" No one present had a good impression of Feng Hao, and they all agreed with the old man's words. Feng Hao was petty, and to say that he would hurt others with his words, Zhe Long must have been angered by Feng Hao just now. Chen Shang took out a jade case, and after opening it, a jade green lotus, that looked as if it had been sculpted from a piece of jade, immediately appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Where did you get it? Seeing that, Feng Hao asked loudly, his tone was extremely stern. Where did I get this? What does it have to do with you? Chen Shang laughed coldly, could it be that only the Feng clan has one? Or do you want to say that this was stolen from your Feng clan? Quote. Feng Hao was extremely familiar with his own Bisheng Immortal Lotus. He could confirm that this one in front of him was not from their Feng clan, and it was much better than theirs. Because he had lost his Bisheng Immortal Lotus, and there were even more people like Chen Shang, who he disliked, so he was very angry in his heart and wanted to immediately snatch them away. Do you want to change it? Zhe Long immediately asked. I, Zhe Long, promise with my life, that my bone-level fruit's effects are exactly the same as what I said. I, Zhe Long, am the Star Lord of Earth Dragon Star. If you find something different when you eat it in the future, you can come and find me on Earth Dragon Star anytime. Quote. Chapter 2266. This Zhe Long was actually the Star Lord of a star. This made Chen Shang and everyone present very surprised. UAA said, Earth Dragon Stars should be the Earth stage stars. For him to be able to become the Star Lord with only 5 bones, it means that he has a very strong background. Otherwise, this kind of strength isn't enough for him to become the Star Lord of the Earth stage stars. Chen Shang hesitated for a moment, then said, all right, I will bet, I believe Brother Ji's words. Zhe Long laughed, you really dare to gamble. How should I address you, little brother? People like you should be very famous. Quote. Chen Shang pushed the Bisheng Immortal Lotus over and smiled faintly, Chen Shang. Just as Zhe Long was about to receive the jade box, his hand suddenly froze, because he had heard of this name before, and everyone present had heard of it. As the person who started a massacre in the Everlasting Mountain you. Zhe Long took a deep breath and asked. Exactly, Brother Zhe, could it be that you are afraid of the Everlasting Mountain and do not dare to make a deal with me? Chen Shang laughed, his own name becoming even more famous, he did not feel surprised at all. I'm not afraid. Brother Shen is so brave, to actually dare to fight against Everlasting Mountain, I truly admire you. Zhe Long passed his own black chest to Chen Shang. If you are chased by Everlasting Mountain until there is nowhere to run, then come and sit with my Earth Dragon Star. Although the Everlasting Mountain is a great power that governs one of the heaven stage stars, I am not afraid. Quote. If there's a chance, I will definitely go. Chen Shang cupped his hands towards Zhe Long. They were not confident like Zhe Long, they were worried that the Everlasting Mountain would hate them if they were to exchange with him. After all, if the Everlasting Mountain found out about this, he would definitely hate them. Chen Shang stood up, and laughed, everyone, I have already obtained what I want, so I will take my leave first. He looked at the elder in charge and asked, will this matter be leaked out? The old man said, we can't guarantee that we won't leak it out, but we can guarantee that if this matter were to be leaked out, we will definitely find out who leaked it and kill them. All right, farewell. Chen Shang clasped his hands at the old man, then left the hall. He wanted to obtain either the Bisheng Immortal Lotus or the Purple Heart Lotus very much, but his own financial resources were limited and he could not exchange for it at all. This made him even more jealous of Chen Shang. Today, Feng Wu had broadened her horizons. She was very curious as to why Chen Shang was able to suddenly take out the Bisheng Immortal Lotus of the 4 lotus seeds. Feng Hao, that fellow will definitely be angered to death. Feng Wu chuckled, in the past, he was a lofty existence in my eyes, but now, he doesn't seem to be anything special. Chen Shang smiled faintly, then proceeded to the city's transmission array, teleported away from this cyan profound star, and returned to Kang Cloud City. Jingzi and Teng Yang were currently running all over the place. They planned to use a long period of time to travel all over the famous stars of the Star La Divine Realm to purchase as many of the divine medicines to refine bone-level DANs as possible. They only needed to think of how to turn those flowers into precious bone-level DANs. They had only given Chen Shang 30 sets of Shengpen bone-level Dan's divine medicine and Chen Shang had already given them 180 of them. This gave them a lot of motivation and passion. Big brother, I've already won over 10 people. They all plan to leave Everlasting Mountain to follow you. When Chen Shang returned to the Kang Cloud City, he received a message from Hua Lang. Let them wait for a little while, I have to make arrangements. Chen Shang replied. He currently lacked manpower, so Teng Yang and Jing Zi were already out and would not be able to return for a while. Chen Shang thought about it and decided to send messages to Huang Jintian and Huang Yantian. They were not in the Kang Cloud City right now, but they had an agreement with Chen Shang that they would come back once in a while to receive a message. Feng Wu, why don't you go and contact Hua Lang first, and settle down the disciples that exited the everlasting mountain? Chen Shang gave Feng Wu 20 Zongpin bone-level Dan. You think of a way to sell them, get some Shen Yuan stone, and then distribute them to the disciples. Alright, Feng Wu was also very idle right now, but if Chen Shang wanted to refine pills, naturally, she had no time to care about these things. She had always been, and she could not do anything for Chen Shang. Feng Wu bought a villa in Kang Cloud City, and Chen Shang was in a secret underground room in the villa. Are you analyzing that bone-level fruit? Chen Shang asked. Is it like what Zhe Long said, only eating it would allow one to condense bones? I can't be sure, but I've discovered that there's something similar to bones inside this bone-level fruit. However, this type of bones is not like a human's. If a human eats it, they might really be able to condense their bones. Yue was also a little excited. I never thought that there would actually be such a magical thing. I had always been delusional, if only I had something like this that could immediately congeal bones. Chen Shang laughed. I think refining this thing into a pill is the best. I need to refine a 3 Lotus Dan first and cure Shui Yi's poison first. Quote. The 3 Lotus Dan was a divine pellet of king grade, so Chen Shang didn't have absolute confidence in refining it now. He let Yue use the spirit seed in the 6 realms God cup first, allowing the 3 divine lotuses to condense more lotus seeds. Right now, I need to condense more purple pearls and cooperate with the 6 realms God cup to replicate the Taipan bone level Dan. I need to refine a few more Taipan Dan before I can try out the king grade. Chen Shang activated his alive slain method and condensed a purple pearl. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. There are already 4 lotus seeds, and 10 of them are used to refine Taipan bone level Dan S. We haven't been able to obtain any 9 yin and yang Dan S, divine medicines for the time being. Yue said. Her work in the cave was relatively easy, she only used purple pearls to dilute the spirit seed into water, and let it take root and grow into a grain of rice, then peeled off 1 grain at a time. Now, Chen Shang finally understood why the 6 realms God cup in the Black Stone Divine Venerable had a heaven-ranked king grade's divine medicine. It was all caused by that spirit seed. I wonder if the Star Law Divine Realm has ever auctioned the low-rank bone-level Dan before. Chen Shang looked at those familiar divine medicines. In the past, the ones he refined were all middle heaven grade ones, but now they were all high-quality ones. No, who would be willing to sell this kind of thing? They were all left to try and break through to the 8th or 9th divine deity. Long Shui laughed, but very soon, people will sell it. Chen Shang had become stronger and stronger, and Yue was very happy as well. Only by doing this would she be able to protect her cat race from being bullied. The Taipan bone level Dan should not be difficult for you to refine, right? Yue asked. It's definitely not difficult. Bone level Dan have always been easy to refine. Chen Shang took out the Chuangshi God furnace, and after placing a few high-quality divine medicine in it, he began to use the Tao Heart Eye and then use the original source refining to refine it. Chapter 2267. When Chen Shang came to the Star Law Divine Realm, he discovered that the position of the strong pill god was even higher there. For example, right now, he could rope in Teng Yang and Jing Zi, who were both able to win over the 100 gods level. He felt that since he was refining pills, it wouldn't be good for him to go out and fight all day, so he should just leave this matter to others. He would usually refine pills, and flirt with his woman, and if there were really things that his subordinates couldn't solve, he would personally do it himself. He felt that the Star Law Divine Realm was the end of the world. All the strong warriors who had reached the peak of their strength were gathered here, and if they could establish a stable power here, then he would be able to live a peaceful life in the future and focus on breaking through to the peak of his cultivation. Refining low-quality bone-level Dan was the same as refining high-quality 9 yin and yang Dan. It was not very difficult, it only took a little bit of time, and it took him 6 hours to finish refining. This was also the reason why the high-quality divine medicine was harder to refine and fuse, but after he familiarized himself with it, he could directly use the bones in his eyes to instantly refine it. 5 pills, gone. Chen Shang sighed. The quality of these 5 Taipan bone-level Dan-s were all very good, but previously, when he was refining high and middle-rank pills, he produced 6 of them. I'm still not familiar enough. Yue said, but it's not bad either. I have never seen a high-quality bone-level Dan before. I'm not familiar with it. The second batch should be enough. Chen Shang nodded, and then began refining the second batch. The time taken for the second furnace wasn't as long as before. It was completed in 4 hours, and there were even 6 pills. Only then did he nod his head in satisfaction. I can refine the 3 lotus dan now. I need to quickly cure Shui Yi's poison. Thinking about this little naughty dragon that's unconscious, my heart aches. Chen Shang said as he took out 3 lotus seeds. The Qingxin spiritual lotus was white, the Bisheng immortal lotus was emerald green, and the purple heart lotus was purple. 3 lotus dan is more than just detoxifying, right? Otherwise, these 3 divine lotuses wouldn't be so precious. Yue said, any single pill has a great use. If they are combined together to form a pill, the effect will be even stronger. I'm not too sure either. In short, I'll just refine it first. Chen Shang placed the 3 lotus seeds into the Chuangshi God furnace. He had pinched the 3 lotus seeds a moment ago, and they were not of an ordinary toughness. Even with his strength, he was unable to crush them. It's my first time refining the king grade in elixir, I wonder how it will turn out. Chen Shang was also a little nervous in his heart. He took a deep breath, calmed himself down, and then controlled the Chuangshi God furnace to release the flames. It really is difficult to refine. The king grade's divine medicine is just different. Chen Shang released a very fierce flame that burned for a while, but the 3 lotus seeds actually did not have any reaction. If the Chuangshi God furnace's current flames were to land on a divine monarch with a total of 80 to 90 divine deity, it might even burn them into ashes if it were to slow their reactions. However, these lotus seeds had been burned for a long time, yet they were still perfectly fine. Chen Shang stopped burning and took out the lotus seed. He could not help but scold in a low voice, damn it, it's actually that cold. This lotus seed knows to release a corresponding power to protect itself. The king grade divine medicine is truly inconceivable. This kind of power to protect oneself is comparable to an expert of the 100 gods level. Quote, is there no way to refine it? Yue said worriedly, your Chuangshi God furnace are already so terrifying, if you can't even burn this lotus seed, then wouldn't it be even more difficult for other pill gods? Therefore, refining the king grade's divine pellet is not something that can be done in a day or 2. Even if it has been thousands or tens of thousands of years, it might not necessarily be. The other pill gods should have borrowed the flames of the earth's core to burn for a long period of time, exhausting the power of their divine medicine resistance. Chen Shang said, I have the Chuangshi God furnace and heavenly alchemy, so I definitely won't use that method of death. I can only use the old method to find a solution to the problem from the heavenly alchemy. I only managed to get a little insight into the heavenly alchemy now, but I really don't know if that guy made it. It's really too scary. Chen Shang said, do the people from the Star Law Divine Realm know about the existence of the heavenly alchemy? I also think that it's very strange. A divine technique like the heavenly alchemy should already exceed the category of the 100 gods levels 9 great bones experts. That is to say, the strength of the person who is able to create this kind of divine technique definitely surpasses its peak. Yue replied, amongst the 4 types of taboo magic, this is the most terrifying one. The other divine arts still make sense. Chen Shang had a greater understanding of the heavenly alchemy, and was very familiar with the many mental cultivation methods, as well as the various small methods. Right now, he could only search through his memories for any kind of methods, and then analyze them to see if he could solve the problem he was facing. There is. If you meet a divine medicine that is difficult to refine, you need to condense a special type of flame. This type of flame is called an illusory flame. Chen Shang said. Mystic fire. What are the specific effects? Yue asked. She was the most curious about new things. How so? Chen Shang thought for a while, then said, illusory fire is not a substantial flame. This kind of flame can only be seen by its users, and the person being burned can only see it, and can only sense it, and won't produce any heat either. No one else can see it. Can't see. What will happen after it's burned? Yue asked. Even if your perception is strong, you still can't sense it. I can't feel it either. The top of the heavenly alchemy is called illusory fire, but I think that calling it spirit fire is more appropriate. It is equivalent to you eating a consecutive core in me, and I will pass on to you what I think. Only you and I know, that no matter how strong the others are, they won't be able to know. Chen Shang said, illusory fire is of a similar form. It is equivalent to me using this kind of flame, establishing a state of telepathy with the divine medicine, and then directly transmitting the flame inside the divine medicine. It means that you and I have a telepathic connection, and then, no matter what I think in my heart, no matter where you are, you will be able to receive it. Chen Shang explained in detail, when I use the illusory flame, it is to forcefully establish a telepathic connection between me and the divine medicine, and then, I forcefully insert the flame into his body, in order to refine it. When the flames were formed, it was in my heart. After passing it on, it would be inside a divine medicine. Moreover, this kind of fire comes from the fire that is imagined within my heart. Quote. Uaa was astonished and asked, an imaginary flame? Chen Shang nodded, that's right. I've used the heavenly alchemy's method and used my divine power to imagine it, then created an illusory flame. Then it will pass through the portal to you, and then you will have the illusion of being burned, and then you yourself will be burned to death, a flame that only you and I can see. Quote. The heavenly alchemy is truly terrifying. Uaa sighed in admiration. If I didn't use the illusory flames to refine pills, would I be able to use it against others? Of course you can. I can pry into another's divine sense see, and if I use the bones in my eyes to break open another's defenses, and directly release fire inside of them, it would be even easier for me to succeed. Chen Shang laughed. Chapter 2268. The 3 lotus seeds that Chen Shang had refined were already extremely difficult to burn, and adding on to that, the divine pellet would also be able to release the strange power required to resist it, so refining a lotus seed would be even more difficult. It would take a very long time. The inside of the King Grade's divine medicine had already condensed and become very sturdy. After condensing a crystal, a divine medicine could store an even more powerful energy. When refining, it could create a very strong resistance. Right now, Chen Shang was using the mystic fire refinement skill. It was equivalent to letting the divine medicine burn and refine itself, burning its own energy. Chen Shang had only comprehended this method, but had never used it before, and did not know if it would work. Right now, he had to start using this method on the 3 lotus seeds. If he succeeded, this fantasy fire refining technique would be the best method to refine the King Grade Spirit Pill. Of course, this still needed to be combined with the original source refining to allow the energy of the various King Grade and divine medicines to fuse together. Chen Shang once again placed the 3 lotus seeds into the Chuangshi God furnace, and started to use the illusory fire refinement technique, following the instructions in the heavenly alchemy. This was an invisible flame. Even though it couldn't be seen or touched, it still consumed a large amount of his 6 realms power. It might take me a while to refine this 3 lotus Dan. You should plant more spirit seed in the ring and see if you can create the bone level Dan's divine medicine. Chen Shang said to Uaa. Now, he had successfully released the mystic fire, but he did not expect that the Chuangshi God furnace could actually increase the strength of the mystic fire. As expected of the Chuangshi God furnace, all kinds of flames can increase the quality. It seems like the time it takes for me to burn these 3 King Grade lotus seeds will be much shorter. Chen Shang began to forcefully communicate telepathically with the 3 lotus seeds. Even a low-level medicine would use spiritual energy, not to mention the King Grade and divine medicine. The King Grade and divine medicine had intelligence that was not inferior to humans. One had to know that some rare flowers and herbs had good luck and could cultivate adult. LV Qinlian had transformed into a lotus. These genius treasures could be reborn if they had the chance. After transforming into a human, their strength would not be any weaker than a human's. Chen Shang did not know how much time had passed. He only used the illusory flame to wrap 3 lotus seeds around him, attempting to invade their minds, but he did not succeed. He had followed the methods in the heavenly alchemy, and according to the methods above, he would continuously attack the heart of the divine medicine. Unknowingly, Chen Shang suddenly had a reaction with the 3 lotus seeds. The 3 lotus seeds had become very tame now. The illusory fire had already started working, starting to burn inside the 3 lotus seeds. Not long after, the 3 lotus seeds suddenly cracked open. A dazzling multicolored light leaked out from within the cracks. It was green, white, and purple respectively. We've finally reached this step. Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief. He was still worried that it would take a very long time to finish. After the cracks appeared on the 3 lotus seeds, the illusory fire gushed out from within and began to burn the outer layer that had become extremely weak. Not long after, 3 clumps of light that were like clay appeared within the Chuangshi God furnace. After refining the Shengpin medicine and the divine medicine, they would take the shape of a liquid, while the quality would become a bit thicker. This King Grade elixir is pulp. Chen Shang thought back to the Jingshan Dan that he had refined before. At that time, after he had used the crash method to improve the quality of the divine medicine, it had gone from a medicinal liquid to a medicinal paste, and in the end, it had congealed into a Jingshan Dan. Now that he saw these 3 clumps of medicinal liquid, he was sure that they were Jingshandan's. After refining the king grade and divine medicine, is it definitely the medicinal liquid? Why have I never heard of it? I remember that I read in an ancient book that after refining the king grade and divine medicine, they would also be made of medicinal liquid, but it would be a little thicker than the first grade, but it is still far from reaching this form of thick mud. Chen Shang was very suspicious about this. At this point, he needed to use the original source refining to search for the spirit blood with 3 lotus seeds. He found it very quickly. The process of fusing the 3 lotus seeds was very clear to him. After he fused the 3 spirit blood, the 3 lumps of medicinal liquid began to fuse together. The process of fusing was also relatively easy. When other pill gods refine the king grade's lotus seeds, they might consume a large amount of energy from within the lotus seed, so in the end, they would only form a medicinal liquid. However, when I use the mystic flame refining, the energy consumed by the divine medicine would be minuscule, which was why it is different from the energy used in the ancient books. Chen Shang thought about it, and this was the only explanation he could come up with. The 3 lumps of medicinal liquid that were originally very thick fused together at this moment, and were even pressed down into a smaller ball. Now, it was no longer a lump of milk, but rather a solid state. Very tricky. Right now, it is already a very strong solid. If we continue to compress it, it will definitely condense and crystallize. The process will definitely be very difficult. Chen Shang had refined 2 Jingshandan's. The first time was a failure, like turning into a small stone, and the second time was with the help of Lu Munger and the others who used the 7 souls refinement art. This time, no one helped him, and the Jingshandan that was formed this time was much stronger than before, because it was refined using the king grade's divine medicine. There's probably nothing to be afraid of. I have so many divine deity now, my cultivation has increased by a large amount. Chen Shang immediately divided the round stone orb into 3 parts, and after separating the parts, he let it become round. I'm starting to form the core. Success is just around the corner. Chen Shang gathered all of his divine deity and wrapped them around the 3 larger beads. As long as he compressed them to a stable state, they would be considered to have been condensed into pellets. When turning into a Jingshandan, it would be hard to compress, but there was one benefit to it. If it failed, it wouldn't disperse, but it would turn into a rather poor quality small stone. Under the compression of Chen Zhang's powerful divine power, the 3 round beads slowly shrank down from the inside. The process was very strange, and it even emitted a sparkling and flickering light, as though it was passing through the multicolored light of a crystal. Very good, as long as this goes on, I will definitely succeed. Although Chen Shang could feel that the 3 balls of stuff he compressed were expanding, the pressure produced by the expansion wasn't too strong. He could still control it well. Chen Shang clearly remembered that it took him no less than 7 days and 7 nights to make this round bead into the size of a pill. At this time, his power to expand was also at its strongest. If he could no longer persevere, he would immediately explode. However, with Chuangshi God Furnace, even if it exploded, it would not cause much damage. Let me handle it, Chen Shang growled, and suddenly, a burst of light burst out from inside the Chuangshi God Furnace. He had succeeded in concocting the pellets, and the 3 pellets were successfully refined by the Jingshandan, not to mention the Jingshandan itself. It's finally done. Chen Shang wiped the sweat off his forehead, opened the furnace, and took out the 3 crystals from the 3 lotus dan. The quality is very good. As expected, the king grade's divine pellet is not easy to refine. You took 2 months. Little Moon smiled and said, but it's good as long as you succeed. Compared to other alchemy gods, the amount of time you spend is the least. Chapter 2269. When Chen Shang was refining the 3 lotus dan, he only knew that it took a lot of time, but it was only 7 days. This was mainly at the stage of fusing and refining. Did it really take 2 months? Chen Shang still could not believe it. He felt that he had only used 10 days. It's true, Yue said. Feng Wu has already been here a few times, but I haven't been able to see you. I don't know what urgent matter she has. But you'd better rest first, and take a look after you've recovered. Quote. No need to rest, my energy consumption isn't that high. Chen Shang hurriedly walked out of the secret underground room and arrived at the top. The moment he came out, he could sense that there were quite a few people in the manor, more than 10 of them in this way. Master is here too. Chen Shang anxiously took out his communication jade symbol paper. Upon hearing Huang Jintian's message, he had already rushed over to help him take care of these matters. Chen Shang also didn't know how they got to know Feng Wu, or how they did it, but he hurriedly arrived outside a large house at the villa. Just as he arrived at the door, Feng Wu ran out from within. "Big brother, you've come out of seclusion." Feng Wu laughed. "What is it? Did something big happen?" Chen Shang followed Feng Wu into the house and into a hall. The people who were originally sitting there all stood up in a hurry because Chen Shang recognized one of the Hualang. However, he could guess that these were all the outer sect disciples from the Everlasting Mountain, and they were all pretty strong. All of them looked very strong, very different from the inner sect popinjays. Just this valiant aura alone was enough to suppress the group of inner sect disciples. "Big brother!" These 10 people shouted in unison. Although their voices weren't loud, they were filled with ferocity. "All right, sit down." Chen Shang laughed and made a gesture to invite them in. These were all one by Hualang from the Everlasting Mountain. After Chen Shang walked in, he sat at the top of the hall, listening to the introductions of the 10 men. They were all disciples that had fought with the inner sect disciples before, but they were not as intense as Chen Shang, and were extremely impressed with Chen Zhang's actions. At first, Hualang did not say that he had bone-level Dan for them. When they heard that it was Chen Shang, they all expressed their wish to follow him. "Big brother, now that the eternal leader has come out, we have no way of knowing what actions he will take, but it would be best for you to be more alert. Even though the eternal leader is unable to break through to the peak after coming out from closed-door cultivation, your strength has definitely increased. His name was Li Hong, and he possessed the 95 divine deity and 3 bones. I wonder how much do you all know about the eternal leader? I've only heard that they are not bad people. The outer sect disciples are all quite sympathetic towards them, and some even say that they would change the rules and allow the outer sect disciples to enjoy equal treatment with the inner sect disciples." Chen Shang suddenly had another plan. "That's right, the eternal leader has said it himself. But it will be very difficult for him to execute it. It must involve the interest of the elders of the Dan God Institute as well as the large amount of true disciples. If they want to execute it, they would rather not have this leader." A large man said. Chen Shang thought for a while, then said, "Looks like I have to go and meet him. If he has such thoughts, then it means that he is a good person." Feng Wu and the others were very surprised when they heard it. "You are going to see the leader, he is an expert at the peak of the realm, are you not afraid of him?" Hualang said. "No." Chen Shang smiled faintly. The heavenly Aquarius that Chen Shang had previously obtained was given to his son by the leader. With this bottle in his possession, Chen Shang was sure that he could have a good talk with the eternal leader. "Tang Yang and Jing Zi didn't come back?" Chen Shang asked. "Not yet, but Big Brother's master and martial uncle are here." Just as Hualang finished speaking, Huang Jintian and Huang Yantian walked in with a laugh. They had exchanged for a lot of Shen Yuan stone after selling it. Now that they found out that Chen Shang wanted to set up a sect, they immediately came over to follow him as well. Furthermore, if they wanted to avenge the undead divine race, they had to rely on Chen Shang. "Master, martial uncle," Chen Shang immediately shouted. "Hee, now that we are planning to stay here, don't chase us away when the time comes." Huang Jintian laughed. "How could that be? However, you must not be lazy. At that time, there will be a lot of things for you to do." Chen Shang laughed. Chen Shang walked over and handed over a storage bag. "Senior Master, please go back and pass the things inside to Sister Kilian." Huang Yantian was secretly shocked. He did not expect Chen Shang to refine the king grade so quickly. A pill god that could refine the king grade's divine pellet was already considered a rather powerful pill god in the Star Law divine realm. "Good, I'll go back now." Huang Yantian frequently visited him, and he now had many Shen Yuan stone, so he wouldn't feel so bad about using them. Other than the 3 Lotus Dan pills, there were also the divine medicines to refine the type and bone level Dan as well as the things that Chen Shang wanted to say to LV Kilian. After Huang Yantian left, Chen Shang took out a few Zongpin bone level Dan and distributed them to the 10 disciples who had just joined. "You guys still have to raise your bones by a lot. Right now, we don't need to fight with other powers, so during this period of time, you should become stronger. In the future, when we touch on the interests of other big powers, we will need all of you to fight in the battlefield." Chen Shang said. No one obtained a few bone-level Dan, which made them very excited. This was something they did not even dare to think about before. In the past, when they were in Everlasting Mountain, for the sake of obtaining the bone-level Dan, they had lost a lot of blood and spent a lot of time in order to get one of the somewhat inferior quality. But now, Chen Shang had given everyone a few pills, it was definitely a huge gift. Hua Lang, were you suspected in the Everlasting Mountain? Chen Shang asked. No, Hua Lang laughed, they won't suspect anything, I have always been strict with my work. Then, is there any way for you to help me send a message to the Eternal Leader? Chen Shang laughed. What, big brother, do you really want to meet the Eternal Leader? Hua Lang thought that Chen Shang would wait for a while, he didn't think that he would have to go see the Eternal Leader so soon. Of course, because I feel that we won't become enemies with this leader in the future. Chen Shang laughed, in the future, we will build our sect on top of the Everlasting Mountain. Chapter 2270. To build a sect on top of the Everlasting Mountain, it meant defeating all of the powers in the Everlasting Mountain. It might even attract some of the great powers from other heaven stage stars to encircle and annihilate the sect, because what Chen Shang had done was to break the rules of the Star Law Divine Realm. Chen Shang took out a jade talisman and recorded his voice. He didn't say anything else and only agreed to meet with the Eternal Leader at a place and talk to him alone. Hua Lang said, after Leader came out, he also frequently went to visit the outer sect disciples, I often saw him, so it wouldn't be difficult for me to hand this thing over to him. Chen Shang nodded his head, then you should hurry up and do it. After Hua Lang left, the other 10 disciples also went into closed-door cultivation. Feng Wu said, during this period of time, the Feng clan has spread about everything related to you, saying that you have broken the rules and are selling bone-level dans everywhere. Furthermore, I wonder how they knew you killed Yu Zhen. Quote, this should have something to do with the old man from Kang Cloud City, the omniscient old man definitely revealed it. Even though he promised me that he wouldn't leak out any of it, when Feng Hao asks him about other things, he would inevitably say a little more. Chen Shang said, don't bother with him for now, it won't affect me much. Huang Jintian laughed, why can't it affect? Enforcers are trying to capture you everywhere. If you get caught, you'll be locked up in hell. You might even get killed. Quote. Chen Shang laughed out loud, if they can find me, that's for the best. I'd like to see just how capable they are. Feng Wu, since the Feng clan is spreading news about me, then it means that we are enemies. You must think of a way to tell Feng how to restrain him a little, or else when I have formed my power, I will immediately destroy his Feng clan to display my might. Feng Wu nodded his head, and the Great Heaven School, they have already confirmed that you were the one who killed Yu Zhen, and they are searching everywhere for your whereabouts. Who steals chickens and dogs, I will definitely exterminate him. Chen Shang said, I will first meet with the Eternal Leader, hopefully, we will succeed this time. Chen Shang used the space wind and disappeared from the Great Hall in the blink of an eye, leaving the villa. Outside of the Kang Cloud City was a stone mountain that looked like a pillar of the heavens. The summit of the mountain was above the clouds, and Chen Shang was at the peak of one of the mountains, looking down at the surging sea of snow-white clouds. At noon, with the sun at the head of the mountain peak, Chen Shang was being exposed to the sun, but this did not affect him in the slightest. Not long after, a white silhouette flew over from afar. From afar, Chen Shang could see that it was an energetic old man dressed in a white robe, with long hair and youthful looks. This person was none other than the Eternal Leader, Dai Donggong. In the blink of an eye, Dai Donggong had already floated in front of Chen Shang. He frowned slightly, revealing a trace of anger, because Chen Shang had started a massacre in the Everlasting Mountain, causing the Everlasting Mountain to lose a few inner disciples and an elder. Sensing Dai Donggong's anger, Chen Shang also secretly became vigilant. This Dai Donggong was a peak ranker, and could be said to be the strongest person he had ever met. However, what made him relieved was that although Dai Donggong was angry, he was able to restrain himself. Moreover, his body emitted a wave of righteous energy, and now he understood why only Dai Donggong did not go to the Everlasting Mountain, that the other big shots of the other stars joined hands to kill the undead divine race. It was because he was filled with righteousness, such a person would not do such a thing. You are my enemy, I should have killed you. Dai Donggong observed Chen Shang for a long time and was the first to reply. But I never saw you as an enemy. Chen Shang smiled lightly, as the leader, you can be considered to have failed. If you could make the environment of the Everlasting Mountain more fair and harmonious, I wouldn't be bullied, and there wouldn't be the matter of me starting a massacre. You are also at fault for this matter. Quote. Dai Donggong frowned slightly, a trace of grief could be seen in her spirited eyes. Chen Shang didn't know why her words would cause such a reaction. You're right. As Dai Donggong looked at the endless content within, the expression in his eyes grew distant and he let out a long sigh. Senior, could it be that you have something that's difficult to say? Chen Shang felt that such a righteous elder would not be able to control the situation in the everlasting mountain. Dai Donggong did not answer him, but asked him a question instead. Why did you invite me here? His back was facing Chen Shang, which meant that he did not have any wariness against Chen Shang. He could also tell that Chen Shang did not have any malice towards him. It's something related to Heavenly Aquarius. Chen Zhang's words made Dai Donggong tremble all over. Dai Donggong suddenly turned around, his eyes became extremely sharp, but he was able to control his emotions and asked slowly, do you know the relationship between me and the Heavenly Aquarius? Since that's the case, you should know about the matter regarding my beloved son, right? Quote. I just know that the Heavenly Aquarius was created by you, Senior, and given to your son. Death, Heavenly Aquarius's whereabouts are unknown. Chen Shang said, the Heavenly Aquarius is currently in my hands, but... Seeing Dai Donggong's expression changed, Chen Shang anxiously retreated, and said loudly, but I did not kill him, the Heavenly Aquarius was only obtained from another person's hands, but I know who held the Heavenly Aquarius. Continue. Dai Donggong took a deep breath. In order to calm him down, Chen Shang handed the Heavenly Aquarius over to Dai Donggong. I got the Heavenly Aquarius from Yu Zhen, but I don't know where he got it from. What Chen Shang had said was the truth. He then continued, however, I feel that this matter is definitely related to the leader S. To Senior, this is the only clue. Dai Donggong withdrew the Heavenly Aquarius. This was his son's inheritance, it was extremely important. Although he gave the Heavenly Aquarius back, Chen Shang didn't feel it was a pity. The Heavenly Aquarius wasn't of much use to him. You didn't call me here about the Heavenly Aquarius, right? Dai Donggong had lived for so long, how could he not see through Chen Zhang's thoughts? The reason why Chen Shang took out the Heavenly Aquarius was to resolve the conflict between him and Dai Donggong. That's right, Chen Shang laughed, Senior, I helped you find the Heavenly Aquarius and even gave you a clue, shouldn't you be grateful to me? Dai Donggong nodded his head, the Heavenly Aquarius has a very important meaning to me, I will be grateful to you. Chen Shang withdrew his smile and spoke in a serious tone, Senior, there must be something hard for you to say in Everlasting Mountain. That's why you were restricted by Dan God Institute or the Clan of Elders, and because of that, you can't change Everlasting Mountain, right? Chen Shang had already seen through it just now. Yes, Dai Donggong admitted it, but from today onwards, they will no longer be able to control me. It is time for me to do what leaders should do. Quote. Dai Donggong seemed to have made some painful decision. He was able to control his emotions, but he was still unable to hide the pain on his face. Chapter 2271. Although Chen Shang and Dai Donggong had only chatted for a short while, they had already understood that Dai Donggong and the Dan God Institute's Elders Hall was not on the same side. Senior, how did they threaten you? Maybe I can help you. Chen Shang said. No one can help me. For many years, for my own selfish reasons, I have caused Everlasting Mountain to become more and more crooked, and I have disappointed the great hopes that he had placed on me back then. Now that I have decided to give up on certain things, this is the only way to change the Everlasting Mountain. Dai Donggong sighed. Chen Shang said, Senior, to be honest, the real reason I came to find you was to rope you into the power I created. When Chen Shang came, he did have such thoughts, but at that time, he did not decide either, so he wanted to see what kind of person the eternal leader was first. Dai Donggong never thought that Chen Shang would actually have such a goal. He really wanted to know why Chen Shang had such confidence to win him over. Everlasting Mountain's current environment is hopeless. Chen Shang said, you should know this better than me. No matter what you do next, you will become Everlasting Mountain's enemy. They've already gotten used to being lazy over the years, suddenly telling them to risk their lives to do something is equivalent to taking their lives. And the strongest power in the Everlasting Mountain is precisely this group of people. If you force them to hunt special god beasts, they will definitely work together to resist you. Quote. That's right, Dai Donggong sighed, but, was the Everlasting Mountain going to end like this? If this goes on, in the future, if there will be a conflict, Everlasting Mountain will definitely die. Even if I know the result, I still have to try. The majority of the inner sect disciples of the Everlasting Mountain could not compare to the outer sect disciples, but the outer sect disciples were always forced to do dangerous things. For many years, the majority of the outer sect disciples could not compare to the outer sect disciples of the Everlasting Mountain, but the outer sect disciples were always forced to do dangerous things. Hearing Dai Donggong's words, Chen Shang was secretly shocked. This Dai Donggong seemed to know what kind of calamity was going to befall the Star Law Divine Realm. It was as if the Star Law Divine Realm had been peaceful for many years. Chen Shang laughed coldly. Why would you make the inner disciples of the Everlasting Mountain listen to you? You can give them a godly pill. I'm afraid even the outer sect disciples won't listen to you, because you can't bring them any benefits. They were full of yearning to enter the inner sect, so how could they know about all the things that happened in all their dreams? The only reason the outer sect disciples still stayed was to get some divine pellets, and only the Dan God Institutes were the core of the entire Everlasting Mountain. As for you, you're just a relatively strong fighter. Quote. Dai Donggong frowned, but Chen Shang had stabbed him right in the heart. Even though he was a leader, he truly did not have much appeal in Everlasting Mountain, and the inner sect disciples did not like him, but he could not improve the treatment of the outer sect disciples. The outer sect disciples could only say that he was a good person, but would absolutely not listen to him. Chen Shang chuckled. The current accusation of the elders is to protect the Dan God Institute and obtain the divine pellets. And if you want to change the Everlasting Mountain, you must first control the Dan God Institute, but the Dan God Institute will definitely not let you succeed. He will let the Elder Hall deal with you. Or even join together to fight you. Quote. Dai Donggong was speechless. His current situation was extremely awkward. He clenched his fists tightly, and his body kept on trembling. The reason why you became like this is because of your weakness. You were threatened by the Dan God Institute a long time ago, right? Therefore, you should have made your move earlier, and now that you want it, you realize that the Dan God Institute is not someone you can go against. You have already missed your chance. Chen Shang said again. This caused Dai Donggong's face to be filled with pain, because Chen Shang had hit the mark again. If it were you, what would you do now? Dai Donggong sighed. I'm indeed not suitable to be in charge of a large power, because my heart is not dark enough, not fierce enough, and because I have too many concerns. That's why I'm like this. Chen Shang said, I am already doing it. I have already gathered over 10 outstanding disciples from the outer sect examination. There are already more than 10 people following me. You should be well aware that I have gained a lot of prestige among the outer sect disciples due to my massacre in the Everlasting Mountain. Quote. I really failed. I was dug out of a wall, yet I didn't even know about it. Dai Donggong laughed bitterly. Indeed, because you are indecisive. Even if you have a strong power, what's the use? Chen Shang said, if you know what's wrong, you can change. You still have time to change your mind. Dai Donggong didn't think that a little ghost would actually lecture him, but he was unable to refute Chen Shang. Senior, the inner sect of Everlasting Mountain has already decayed. We can only exterminate them. You can start over when the time comes. Chen Shang said. I just want to know, how in the world are you able to win over so many outer court disciples? This isn't something that can be accomplished with just prestige. Dai Donggong asked. Based on my status as a pill god, is that enough? Chen Shang laughed blandly. I gave each of them a few Zongpin bone level Dan. What reason do you think they have to not follow me and stay in Everlasting Mountain? A pill god that could refine bone level Dan, that was enough. Dai Donggong was already a little moved by what Chen Shang had said. Senior, do you want to join me? Chen Shang once again extended an invitation. If you also join my side, then go and rope in all of Everlasting Mountain's inner sect disciples and elders, and then let Everlasting Mountain face his own destruction. Dai Donggong hesitated. He was thinking. Senior, now that I know how to refine type and bone level Dan, the King Grade God pellet is not a problem. Even if you do not join us, in the future, when you seek me to refine the pellet, I will not refuse. Chen Shang laughed. Do you really know how to refine King Grade and divine pills? Dai Donggong never thought that Chen Shang, who looked so young, would actually have this kind of ability. Of course, Chen Shang said. He had previously refined a 3 Lotus Dan. Alright, as long as you agree to help me refine a batch of King Grade's divine pellets, I will join you. Dai Donggong actually agreed to it, which was something that Chen Shang did not expect. So you're saying, the reason why Senior was threatened by the Dan God Institute was because of the matter of refining pills? Chen Shang guessed. Yes. Dai Donggong nodded his head. My daughter has been poisoned, and needs 3 Lotus Dan to cure the poison. She has already been asleep for tens of thousands of years, and I have only been able to find Qingxin Spiritual Lotus for a few years. I handed the Qingxin Spiritual Lotus over to the Dan God Institute, and had them take care of it, but they sold the Qingxin Spiritual Lotus. Quote. Chapter 2272. Speaking till here, Dai Donggong was extremely agitated and angry. They actually found an excuse to say that they sold the shopping bone level Dan because they did not have enough shopping bone level Dan. They knew that I was going to change Everlasting Mountain's current situation and that it would affect them when the time comes, so they wanted to show their might to me before selling the Qingxin Spiritual Lotus. Quote. Chen Shang was secretly happy. At the same time he understood why Dan God Institute took out Qingxin Spiritual Lotus to sell. Dan God Institute definitely did not lack shopping bone level Dan, but he still auctioned off this precious Qingxin Spiritual Lotus, so it was all on purpose. Senior, it seems like you and I are fated to meet. To be honest, I came to Star La Divine Realm from very far away places just to find the 3 Lotus Dan's divine medicine and refine it into a 3 Lotus Dan to cure my beloved wife's poison. Not long ago, I happened to be able to refine a batch of 3 Lotus Dan, and now, I have already ordered someone to send them back. Chen Shang said. Dai Donggong immediately became agitated. He grabbed Chen Zhang's shoulder and asked, 3 Lotus Dan only needs to be refined using a lotus seed. The divine lotus you obtained should also have at least 2 lotus seeds. Chen Shang nodded his head. That's right, when I return, I will immediately go into seclusion and refine 3 Lotus Dan for Senior's beloved daughter. Good, good, good. Dai Donggong was extremely excited at the moment. He knew that it was fated for Chen Shang to bring back his son's remnants, and he would be able to refine the 3 Lotus Dan to cure his daughter's poison soon. At this moment, he was even more determined to join Chen Shang and the others. Chen Shang and Dai Donggong then chatted for a while in detail, gave Dai Donggong his villa's address in Kang Cloud City, and even gave him a few bone level Dan. This was to allow him to win over outer court disciples for himself. Now, Dai Donggong had already given up on the inner sect disciples. Previously, he was also threatened by the Dan God Institute, which made his heart even colder, and Chen Shang was able to quickly refine 3 Lotus Dan for him. Even if it was only to thank Chen Shang, he still wanted to join Chen Shang. Dai Donggong returned to the Everlasting Mountain, while Chen Shang returned to Kang Cloud City's villa, where he started refining pills in the secret room. When I was at Star La Divine Realm back then, Dai Donggong still hadn't taken over. So many years have passed, and he has already stepped into the peak. At that time, within the Everlasting Mountain, he was not the strongest, but when the old leader saw his kind heart, she passed down the position of the leader to him. Yue said, with him joining us, our side's strength will also be much greater. This way, we won't need to fear the other heavenly star realm's forces. The other heavyweights of the other heavenly stars are all of the older generation. Chen Shang asked. It should be, otherwise they wouldn't kill all of undead divine race to extend their lifespan. Yu coldly snorted and said, those guys actually want to make a move against all the god tribes. They will get their retribution sooner or later. Then where did Everlasting Mountain's old leader go? I don't know, it's worth it for Dai Donggong. Everlasting Mountain's old leader is also not a bad person. Yue sighed, it's a pity that after he left, the Everlasting Mountain turned into such a bird. Chen Shang took out 3 lotus seeds and began to refine a 3 Lotus Dan. Dai Donggong's current weakness was his daughter, who had already been asleep for many years. With his previous experience, he refined 3 Lotus Dan much faster this time, and it was done in more than a month. When he walked out of the secret room, he had already found out that Huang Jintian had received over 10 outer court disciples from the Everlasting Mountain S, and the 10 people who had went into seclusion previously had already come out by now. They had all successfully condensed their bones. More than 20 powerful outer court disciples had already gathered in this villa. After Chen Shang saw these disciples, he chatted with them for a while and gave each of them a few Zongpin bone level Dan S. Hua Lang, help me arrange something. Send a message to the Eternal Leader and have him meet at the same place. Chen Shang said. At that time, Hua Lang had already won them over, and they did not believe it at all. Only after Dai Donggong had over 10 outer sect disciples come over, did they dare believe it to be true. Hua Lang hurriedly nodded, then left the villa. Feng Hao insists, you stole Feng Clan's Bisheng Immortal Lotus, and for some reason, the other elders of Feng Clan believed it. Right now, Feng Clan is looking for you everywhere. Feng Wu said, earlier, you told me to warn Feng Hao. Not only did he not listen, he even continued to spread the news of you selling a large number of divine pellets privately. Yes, we don't need to bother with the Feng Clan right now. We will take care of them when we are ready. Chen Shang said, Feng Clan is just a small fry, don't worry about it. Feng Wu, if you have time, help me find a place. It would be best to stay in the wild, where there are mountains and water, a beautiful place, a place that is large enough, and there are no special god beasts. Quote. All right. Feng Wu did not know why Chen Shang wanted to come, but it sounded like a place used to build villas. When Chen Shang arrived at the place where he met Dai Donggong last time, Chen Shang immediately took out 2 3 lotus danes and handed them over to him. There are 2 of them. If one is not enough, take another. Chen Shang said. All these years, I've only been able to find Qingxin spiritual lotus and you found 3 types of divine lotuses so quickly. Dai Donggong exclaimed, looks like your alchemy skills are even more outstanding than what I imagined. You only managed to concoct a batch of king-grade divine pellets in a month's time, and you only produced 2 pellets, which is much more powerful than those fellows in Dan God Institute. Chen Shang only smiled faintly, Senior, you should be a bit careful within the everlasting mountain. If you remove the poison from your daughter, and you don't trust her to stay in the everlasting mountain, you can let her come to my villa. I can guarantee her safety. All right, Dai Donggong, I will also leave the everlasting mountain and enter the villa in a while. Afterwards, I will be at your command. Dai Donggong was very grateful to Chen Shang. These 2 3 lotus danes were both very precious. If he was going to use shopping bone level danes to exchange for them, then he would need a lot more, and all these years looking for 3 types of divine lotuses, he had been bankrupt, so right now he was also short on money. Dai Donggong obtained the 3 lotus dan and quickly left. He wanted to cure his daughter's poison, he was his only family. Chen Shang had become a lot more relaxed now, and he did not have many Zongpin bone level dan left either. He had been hoping for Teng Yang and Jing Zi to return quickly so that he could have divine medicine and not have to replicate it himself. UAA, has the bone level fruit been copied yet? First, I'll make one, then I'll use it to try forging a pill. Chen Shang asked. Not yet, you need to condense more purple pearls, and with the help of spirit seed, you will be able to condense more purple pearls very quickly. I wonder what grade of divine medicine that bone level fruit is at. UAA replied, although it looks like a king grade, it requires many purple pearls to duplicate it, even more than those divine lotuses. Chapter 2273. Chen Shang could only wait for Teng Yang and Jing Zi to return then try to refine the bone level danes. At that time, they would definitely be able to bring back a large amount of divine medicines. They would have over 100 Shengpin bone level danes on their hands and after being sold, they would be able to obtain a large number of Shenyuan stones. Big brother. Just as Chen Shang was about to enter the secret room to condense purple pearls, he heard someone shouting. Huang Jintian anxiously jumped out, only to see him support a big man whose body was full of scars. It's Li Qi, one of the disciples inside the villa said. Big brother, he has a good relationship with Walang, and he had wanted to join us since a long time ago, but in order for the inner court to help Walang, that's why he didn't come to the villa. It's serious. Chen Shang anxiously took out a divine pill and placed it in Li Qi's mouth. Then, he took out a jade bottle and dripped some white liquid onto the wounds on his body. Li Qi had fainted when he entered the room. After taking Chen Zhang's divine pellet, he quickly woke up, and the wounds on his body had healed by a lot. Slow down. Chen Shang smiled at Li Qi. Who hurt you? Yes, in the clan elders' courtyard, they found Walang and us. Since leader wasn't on the mountain, they attacked us and captured Walang. Li Qi said angrily, these bastards of the elders' hall, they actually forbid us to leave. Fortunately, we have already sent a letter to all the outer disciples. If they believe us, they would be here very soon. Quote. Walang was captured and brought back to the everlasting mountain. This was what Chen Shang was most concerned about right now. His expression became very serious. I don't know. The ones who did it weren't people from the elders' courtyard, nor were they inner court disciples. We don't recognize that group of people, but their strengths are very strong. Li Qi said, we only know that they were sent by the elders' hall. Moreover, they have some enmity with you, big brother. Chen Shang thought for a moment, then immediately understood, I know who it is. Great Heaven School. Quote. Great Heaven School often did things like stealing chickens and dogs, and there was nothing wrong with it. This was definitely under the protection of the Dan God Institute and the Elders' Hall. The death of Dai Donggong's son was related to the Great Heaven School. If not, the Heavenly Aquarius would not be in the Great Heaven School, and if the Elders' Courtyard could call for the Great Heaven School to make a move, then it meant that they were secretly plotting something. Chen Shang suspected that the Elder's Courtyard and the Dan God Institute were the ones who had ordered the to kill Dai Donggong. Master, you stay here to receive the disciples that have come over. I will make a trip to Great Heaven School, Chen Shang said. Big brother, we'll go too. One of them shouted, and the other 20-odd people also started shouting. They wanted to follow Chen Shang to the Great Heaven School to save Hualang. No need, you all stay here. Right now, I am not completely sure that Hualang is in Great Heaven School, so it would be more convenient for me to travel alone. And you guys also have things to do here. If there are other outer sect disciples here, you guys have to receive them and convince them to stay here. Quote. With Huang Jintian here, Chen Shang did not need to worry. When Dai Donggong got the 3 Lotus Dan, he immediately went to treat his daughter's poison. For a moment, he did not know what would happen, so he could only take care of it himself. Chen Shang came to the city where the Great Heaven School was, and after he came, he went straight to the villa where the Great Heaven School was. At this time, the lights and decorations were on outside the big door of the Great Heaven School. Outside the door stood a few handsome youths, smiling as they welcomed the people who had walked in. Congratulations, today is the day of the alliance between Great Heaven School and myself, and it's 100,000 years worth of celebration on top of that. An old man laughed as he came to the door. Thank you for coming to support us. Please come in. A man outside the door smiled apologetically. Chen Shang felt that he guessed right. Although the Great Heaven School and the Great Heaven School were in an alliance, it was equivalent to becoming a subsidiary power of the Everlasting Mountain, and it would be more convenient to mobilize the Everlasting Mountain in the future. No matter who it was, as long as one wore a decent attire, they would be able to enter. Chen Shang changed his appearance to make himself look very noble, then swaggered in. After Chen Shang entered, he immediately released more than 100 threads of divine soul, searching for traces of Hualang. At this time, the Great Heaven School was in high spirits, full of cheers and laughter. Found it. Chen Zhang's thread of divine soul sensed a trace of Hualang's aura, which was located rather far away from the Great Heaven School's plaza at the center. This was Great Heaven School's territory, and the Great Heaven School had just allied with the Everlasting Mountain, so there were many experts from Everlasting Mountain here today. As such, the Great Heaven School was not afraid of anyone coming to cause trouble, and so their guard was relatively loose. They still hoped that someone would cause a ruckus and teach those who had come to make a lesson. After all, Great Heaven School's previous reputation was not very good. Chen Shang easily arrived at the back of the mountain. There was a dungeon here. He determined Hualang's location, and then immediately teleported there. Hualang was locked in a secret room with 4 walls of array barriers. The short was up all over, his hair was messy, and the face that had been laughing all day was swollen and purple, but his eyes were still very clever. When he saw Chen Shang suddenly appear in front of him, he was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out. Big brother. Hualang never thought that Chen Shang would come after he was locked in here for only a short while. Kid, you're quite spirited. Chen Shang patted his head and laughed. My life is tough, I won't die. Hualang laughed mischievously. Looks like Li Qi successfully escaped. I was worried that he would die on the way. He didn't die, but he was heavily injured. Chen Shang looked at the sturdy green chain in Hualang's hands and tried to pull it apart but to no avail. This chain is too powerful. Is it a high-grade divine tool, refined by the leader? Back then, leader refined many things for the sake of the Dan God Institute and the Elders' Hall. Hualang said, it's not easy to open it. Who said that? Chen Shang took out the heavenly magic sword. He controlled the heavenly magic sword to become as big as a dagger and gently cut across. It was as simple as cutting a rope. So powerful. Hualang's eyes widened. Slicing a high-grade divine tool is like cutting vegetables. Big brother, your broken sword is too awesome. Chen Shang took out some medicinal liquid and divine pellets, allowing Hualang to take them to make a breakthrough. How did they find out? Chen Shang felt that it was extremely strange. Did someone betray you? Yes, there's a guy who went in through the outer sect examination, but he has a thick skin. As long as he sees an inner sect disciple, whoever he sees would kneel, and his kneeling posture and methods are first-rate. So he is deeply liked by the inner sect disciples. This fellow was the one who found out about us. Hualang said, it's all our fault for being careless. I never thought that this guy would actually please some outer sect disciples, so he knows quite a few things. Chapter 2274. Although Chen Shang didn't expect such a thing to happen, sometimes things would inevitably go wrong with the plan. Right now, the matter of him secretly trying to rope in the inner disciples of the Everlasting Mountain had already been discovered by the Dan God Institute and the elders. Baidu search for title plus 800 tailnet. Chen Shang felt that there was a high possibility that the next person would be the Feng clan, because the Feng clan hated him very much as well. Now that the Everlasting Mountain had started the alliance with the Great Heaven School, if they could give the Great Heaven School a lot of benefits, then the other powers would be happy too. There is nothing good about allying with the Everlasting Mountain, of course, this is only for the low disciples of the other powers. As long as you form an alliance with the Everlasting Mountain, those people will be the same as the outer disciples of the Everlasting Mountain, said. Everlasting Mountain allying with other small and middle-sized forces, this posed no threat to him. Thank goodness they did not know that the leader was already with you, even if they did, it would be nothing, they can't do anything to the leader. Hua Lang said. Then do they know that I possess a large number of bone-level Dan? Chen Shang asked. I know, and they are very sure that the person who bought the Qingxin spiritual lotus was you, Big Brother. Who knows where they got the bone-level Dan that Big Brother refined from? It was determined through comparison. Hua Lang could hear a lot of news within the inner sect, and he could even hear some of the more secretive things. Ah Lang, I will send you out of the city right now, you should know how to get back, right? Chen Shang said as he saw Hua Lang's injuries turning better. Big Brother, are you going to continue staying here and ruin their good fortune? Hua Lang smirked. I also want to stay and watch. No, you should go back first. Your injuries haven't completely healed yet. Chen Shang shook his head. Now they already know that I am able to refine a large number of bone-level Dan, which can endanger their position and interests. They will definitely hate me for sure next. Hua Lang nodded. His power was limited, if they were to fight, he would not even be able to run. Using the power of space, Chen Shang carefully opened a spatial tunnel and sent Hua Lang away from the Great Heaven School. They did not know that Hua Lang had already left. At this moment, they were celebrating to their heart's content. Chen Shang felt it was funny. Great Heaven School was so happy now, he completely didn't know that Everlasting Mountain and the Elders' Courtyard had allied themselves with the Great Heaven School in order to find new slaves. The disciples at the bottom level of Great Heaven School had thought that fawning on the Everlasting Mountain was a good thing, so they had followed to celebrate. The only thing that would benefit from this would probably be the higher-ups of the Everlasting Mountain, and they had worked for the Everlasting Mountain for a long time, so now they could only join the Everlasting Mountain in name only, and sell out all the disciples at the same time. When Chen Shang arrived at the plaza at the center of the plaza, he had already heard someone say that they would celebrate for a few days and nights. The amount of banquets here grew more and more, and the entire plaza was enveloped in the thick aroma of wine and joyous sounds. Suddenly, the people in the center of the plaza all stood up and moved the tables away, creating a huge space. An old man walked over and waved his hand to release a seemingly strong and sturdy contest ring, and then, a few other old people came, took out many array discs and laid down a barrier. An old man walked onto the stage and said loudly, I am the clan elder of Everlasting Mountain, I have matters to attend to and have not come to leader yet, so I am in charge of forming the alliance between Everlasting Mountain and Great Heaven School. Thank you so much for coming here, so we decided on the spur of the moment to add another show to our fun. Quote, our Everlasting Mountain and Great Heaven School will each choose a disciple. First, the disciples of the Great Heaven School will guard the stage. After defeating the disciples of Great Heaven School, will be the time for the disciples of my Everlasting Mountain to come on stage, and if the disciples of my Everlasting Mountain are to be defeated, then they will be able to obtain the Shengpin Bone Level Dan. Quote, if they won, they would be able to obtain Zongpin Bone Level Dan, and they might even be able to obtain Shengpin Bone Level Dan. Many of the old fellows had already decided to go up on stage and try their luck. The old man saw the excited look on everyone's faces and laughed. I see that everyone is very interested in this. There will be a lot of people attending and it will be difficult to arrange for them to come over. How about this, let's have our disciples hold a secret made box, and as long as we can grab the black pearl from the box, we will be able to go up on stage and challenge our defending disciples. Quote, Chen Shang looked around, and sure enough, there were 100 disciples carrying boxes and walking amongst the crowd, and many people were trying to reach into the boxes to grab the pearls. When it was Chen Zhang's turn to use the Dao Heart Eye, he easily saw the black pearl and grabbed it out. After observing it carefully, he discovered that out of the beads, there was only one black pearl out of the 100, and there were several thousand people present who participated, but in the end, only a few dozen people obtained the black pearl. Although there were many people who complained that they did not have a chance, they understood that if a few thousand people took turns to challenge the gavel, those on the stage would definitely be exhausted to death. And if several dozen people took turns to challenge, that made sense. Friends who have received the Black Pearl, please line up here to register. When Chen Shang heard the elder's voice, he immediately stood up and walked over. Not long after he left, he was stopped by someone. It was a fierce and big man. "Brat, give the Black Pearl in your hand to me, I'll give you 100,000 Shenyuan stone." When the big rough hand pressed onto Chen Zhang's shoulder, it actually grabbed onto Chen Zhang's shoulder. Humph! Chen Shang snorted. He used the hail magic wind and used a burst of cold chi from his shoulder and poured it into the big-sized man's hand. When he wanted to curse Chen Shang, he couldn't make a sound because his entire body was being infiltrated by the hail magic wind, causing him to retreat a few steps and then sit down on his own chair. This burly man only had 70 divine deity, a single palm from Chen Shang could kill him, yet he dared to threaten Chen Shang. And Chen Shang had also taught him a painful lesson. When Chen Shang arrived at the registration place, he discovered that he was the last one there. He secretly cursed the burly man earlier in his heart. If it wasn't for the burly man blocking him for that little bit of time, he definitely wouldn't have been there. "What's your name?" An old man looked at the black pearl that Chen Shang had given him, and after confirming that it was real, he asked. "Qi Tian." Chen Shang made up a fake name. "Alright, you are the 53rd and last place respectively. Young man, you're not smart enough, or you wouldn't be so far behind the line. But you don't need to worry too much. Perhaps after they exhaust all of their disciples' power, it just so happens that it's your turn." The old man laughed and gave the black pearl back to Chen Shang. Chapter 2275. Chen Shang had just finished registering and someone was already challenging the disciples of Great Heaven School. An old man had introduced this disciple named Huo Yang, who was an expert in the use of the divine power of ice and lightning. He was the youngest and most outstanding disciple of the Great Heaven School and was quite handsome. The old man had even told everyone that Huo Yang possessed 90% of divine deity, but he didn't say how much of it he possessed. 93 divine deity, 4 bones. This kind of strength, for the more than 50 guys in front of me, you have no chance of winning at all. Chen Shang thought, and at the same time told Yue. He had the Tao Heart Eye, so if he focused his mind to observe, he could vaguely see the bones of other people's bodies, but divine sense sees divine deity was something that could be seen by using the bones in his eyes. And sure enough, the first person to go up only had 80% of his divine deity left. He was sent flying by a single palm from Huo Yang, and he vomited blood as he flew. Huo Yang's attacks were not light. The elders of the Everlasting Mountain had said before that it was extremely likely for one of them to be severely injured, or even killed, during the battle. Seeing that the people on the ground were dying and there were more than 50 people in the line, more than 30 of them immediately left the line. They thought that the people fighting today would show mercy and they themselves would be able to compete with their luck, but who knew that this wouldn't give them the chance to fight? They knew very well that they didn't even have the chance to put their lives on the line, so they all consciously withdrew. Those who continued to queue up had confidence in themselves. Even if they couldn't beat him, they wouldn't be seriously injured. The second challenger went up on stage. He was an old man, and after he started, he released a raging flame that engulfed the entire contest ring, and he too disappeared within the sea of fire. He has some skill, to actually be able to merge himself into the fire. This looks like he's using the space wind. I just want to merge my own body into the space wind and move with the wind. Chen Shang said. It looks like this person has studied many ways to use fire. It seems like he's quite formidable. Yu said. Huo Yang bellowed, both his fists hitting the ground, causing the ground to shake. When his fists touched the stage, a burst of cold chi accompanied by a burst of berserk power rushed out, in the blink of an eye enveloping the entire stage. The flames suddenly extinguished. The old man who had merged with the flames had no choice but to appear, but the moment he appeared, he was sealed by ice. Following that, Huo Yang took a big stride forward and punched the old man sealed in ice with his fist. Instantly, thunder roared and his fist was like a blood lightning bolt in the darkness, penetrating straight through the old man who had been frozen into an ice cube. Boom! The block of ice instantly shattered into ice. The old man also turned into ice and scattered. Under the rays of the hot sun, the ice quickly melted. Everyone secretly frowned. This person had come to congratulate them, but had actually killed them with a single punch. Furthermore, today was a joyous occasion for both Everlasting Mountain and Great Heaven School. This is the Great Heaven School demonstrating, telling others that they want to take advantage of them. Chen Shang sneered in his heart. Seeing that the Great Heaven School was not merciful at all, more than 10 people left, and there were less than 10 people in front of Chen Shang. In the eyes of these people, those who still dared to queue up and go up were all suicidal. Boom. There was a clap of thunder, and an old man was knocked off the stage. The old man was not heavily injured, and when he landed, he was able to stand still, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. Those who dared to stay behind, sure enough, all had some ability. Although they couldn't win, they were not dead yet, and the strongest actually exchanged more than 10 moves with Huo Yang, which made everyone admire him. Not long after, there was no one in front of Chen Shang, which meant that it was his turn to go up on stage. Everyone, if you all were to join the Great Heaven School, you would also become as strong as the disciples on our stage. And the Great Heaven School has a passageway that can lead to the intersect examination. The elder from Everlasting Mountain suddenly shouted, "All of you need to know, disciples who enter my Everlasting Mountain's intersect will be groomed by us to become this powerful in a short amount of time." This disciple named Huo Yang is like that, he previously couldn't even kill a special god beast with 60 divine deity. Chen Shang cursed the elder's shamelessness in his heart, to actually say such words to trick people into entering the inner sect. The competition in the inner sect of our Everlasting Mountain is very cruel. Everyone should have heard a lot of rumors. But where was there no competition? How could he become strong without competition? Could it be that eating lazily could make one stronger? The losers in the inner sect resent the heavens and the earth, so they spread rumors about the poor environment in the inner sect of Everlasting Mountain. Please do not listen to them. The elder said loudly. Chen Shang found it extremely funny, because the inner disciples of the Everlasting Mountain were lazy to eat and become stronger, and in order to continue, they would continue to lure more people into the inner sect, and become their slaves. This guy is still talking nonsense. It's my turn, you bastard. Chen Shang had not been called up to the stage yet because the elder of the Everlasting Mountain was taking the opportunity to brag about Huo Yang's terrifying strength. The elder had also said that Huo Yang had only cultivated in the inner sect of the Everlasting Mountain for 3 years. Chen Shang looked at the crowd, and saw that many of them were looking forward to it, and were deceived by the elder's words. After the elder finished persuading, he walked off the stage, and when he passed by Chen Shang, he laughed. "I'm so sorry, I thought you were planning to quit. You look so young, and you really have the guts. If you had entered the inner sect of Everlasting Mountain to study for a few years, you would definitely have made great achievements." Previously, the ones in front of Chen Shang were all elderly, so everyone thought that Chen Shang, this young man, would definitely not be as strong as those old men, but now, he actually dared to run up, and felt that he would most likely die. Chen Shang nodded, but he still walked up the stage. Huo Yang seemed to be impatient. He saw that Chen Shang had overestimated himself and ran over, and said, "You have guts, but this is also the last time in your life that you have balls. From the start I am going to use my strongest power to fight you." He was the last one. Moreover, he looked so weak, yet still dared to run over. This kind of person who didn't know his own limits disgusted Huo Yang. Chen Shang laughed. "I'm so scared, you don't have to attack, you nearly scared me to death. If you say any more scary words, I might be so scared that I'll vomit blood and fly away." Quote. Everyone never expected that Chen Shang would actually dare to say such provocative words. When they saw Huo Yang's sudden outburst of anger, everyone saw what happened to Chen Shang. He was enraged by Chen Zhang's words. The people who trained in the Thunder God's power were extremely irritable to begin with, and would easily be angered by a few words from others. Chapter 2276. This guy is worried that he will die too quickly, which is why he angered Huo Yang and allowed Huo Yang to torture him to death little by little. One of them laughed. "Is this person crazy? No, Huo Yang is so angry now, he must have been taken care of in an instant." That might not be true. Although Huo Yang is arrogant, if he is able to control himself against such a person, he will definitely torture him to death. Everyone felt that Chen Shang was definitely going to die, but there was only one person who didn't think the same, and that person was the burly man who stopped Chen Shang previously. He was trembling from head to toe. He simply did not know what Chen Shang had done to him to turn him into such a state. "Begin," an old man shouted. His voice was filled with anticipation. He wanted to see how Chen Shang died. "Useless bugs, go to hell." Huo Yang held back his fury and the berserk thunder power, and after it started, it punched out like lightning towards Chen Zhang's head. "You're the useless bug," Chen Shang actually laughed. He also punched out. His speed was extremely fast. Even people with good eyesight could see that Chen Zhang's punch was actually faster than Huo Yang's. However, Chen Zhang's fist did not carry any kind of frightening power, and appeared to only be an ordinary punch. What was shocking, however, was that Chen Zhang's fist actually struck towards Huo Yang's violent lightning fist. The two fists collided, but it was not as everyone had expected. They had thought that it would be deafening thunderclaps, and then, Chen Zhang's arm would be torn apart by the berserking thunder power. However, what happened now was far beyond everyone's expectations and they couldn't believe it. After the two fists clashed, it was unexpectedly calm, as if two fists had lightly bumped into each other without the slightest fluctuation of power. However, Huo Yang was sweating profusely and his face was filled with fear. He could clearly feel that his powerful thunder god powers had disappeared without a trace after coming into contact with Chen Zhang's fist, like a stone sinking into the ocean. Moreover, Chen Zhang's fist also surged with a strange power that poured into his arm. Huo Yang screamed in shock, and retreated a few steps, touching his own arm, because his arm was itchy right now. My bones, where is your bones? Huo Yang was extremely shocked. All the bones in his arm were gone, and the bones was hidden within the bones. Just now, Chen Shang had used the bone-melting magic palm, so the devil arts that Bai Yu had imparted to him were still extremely powerful. It didn't matter if Huo Yang's arm was crippled, but the bones that he painstakingly condensed out was gone, and this was a huge blow to him. The few elders at the side had already seen that Chen Zhang's strength was extraordinary, and thinking back to the provocative words he had said previously, they knew that Chen Shang had deliberately come to cause trouble. Just one move was enough to scare Huo Yang into a dog, causing everyone to be dumbstruck, and all the elders were aware that there was a difference in strength between Huo Yang and them. Just as the elders reacted, Chen Shang jumped up. His palms were filled with lightning and fire. The berserk thunder power was much stronger than Huo Yang's palm strike. Chen Zhang's palm materialized into a palm that was like condensed bolts of lightning, smashing down fiercely, enveloping Huo Yang. Ah! Huo Yang screamed. Everyone watching the scene on the stage felt their scalps go numb, as Huo Yang's body was actually ripped into pieces by the violent thunder power. Boom! Chen Shang waved his sleeves, releasing a fierce gale filled with raging flames that swept towards Huo Yang's torn body, burning the shattered pieces to ashes. Huo Yang is dead. Those who were severely injured by Huo Yang felt that this retribution arrived a little too quickly, and rejoiced in their hearts. At least they were still alive, but Huo Yang was already dead. I have already defeated Huo Yang. Where is my Zongpin bone-level Dan? Chen Shang smiled towards an elder. Everyone immediately cheered in their hearts. This was such a big joke. Originally, the Everlasting Mountain and the Great Heaven School had allied together to create this combat arena program, and it was meant to make the Great Heaven School and the Everlasting Mountain show their might. What Chen Shang was doing now was to brazenly slap Everlasting Mountain's and Great Heaven School's face. There were many people present, over 10,000 of them. Although most of them were rogue cultivators, there were also representatives from other forces. If the Great Heaven School and the Everlasting Mountain did not give the bone-level Dan to Chen Shang, then it would be breaking their promise. This was a matter that would ruin their reputation, and even though they were absolutely unwilling, they still gave Chen Shang a Zongpin bone-level Dan. Now, I can challenge that Everlasting Mountain disciple, right? Zongpin bone-level Dan is not of much use to me. I am here for the Shengpin bone-level Dan. Chen Shang said while laughing. No matter how you looked at it, you would feel that he was here to create trouble, not for the Shengpin bone-level Dan. No need to be anxious. You should rest first. We have already sent someone to notify that disciple. He will be here very soon. His face was gloomy, his voice low and deep, looking very terrifying. Everyone could see that he was angry, but due to face, he was unable to kill Chen Shang with a palm. Chen Shang actually hoped that he would attack her, so that she could kill him justifiably. Why aren't you here yet? Chen Shang sat on the fighting stage, feeling impatient. That's because our strongest disciple is still in closed-door training, and only our Everlasting Mountain's #1 successor disciple is fit to fight you. Calm down, it's too late for you to leave. The old man smiled sinisterly. The #1 true disciple in the Everlasting Mountain. One could tell that it was very powerful. This guy's done for. The first successor disciple is a guy from the 100 gods level. He possesses quite a few bones. Not necessarily, he did not use his full strength just now. Maybe he is also from the 100 gods level. What is the background of this Qitian fellow? Everlasting Mountain is the strongest power in the Wang ancient heavenly star, he definitely knows about it. But to provoke it, could it be that the other heavenly star sect are here to ruin it? Quote. Everyone began guessing. Chen Shang sat on the stage, and realized that there were over 10 elders surrounding the stage, afraid that he would run away. He guessed that the Everlasting Mountain wanted the number one true disciple to kill him, save face, and vent out his anger at the same time. The bored Chen Shang took out the Zongpin bone level Dan he received as a reward. He sniffed and frowned. Isn't the quality of this Zongpin bone level Dan too terrible? As he spoke, Chen Shang threw the divine pellet outwards. I don't want this kind of trash, whoever wants it will have it. For a dignified Everlasting Mountain to be known as the strongest in terms of pill refinement, he actually used this kind of trash to fool people. Quote. The Zongpin bone level Dan could be lost at any time, even if it was of low quality, it was still very expensive. Chapter 2277. The Zongpin bone level Dan that the elder of the Everlasting Mountain had just given to Chen Shang was indeed of a lower quality. Seeing Chen Shang throw away the bone level Dan, everyone secretly cursed him in their hearts. The bone level Dan that Chen Shang threw away was caught by a big-sized man. He nodded, the quality is indeed not good. We never said what kind of bone level Dan we would reward, right? Was a disciple with great potential and could be killed by Chen Shang just like that. This was a huge loss to both the Great Heaven School and the Elder. That's right, you didn't say what quality you wanted to give, so you couldn't say anything. I just felt very surprised that the alchemy god of your Everlasting Mountain could actually refine such a low-quality bone level Dan. Chen Shang laughed. This is a bit different from the propaganda your Everlasting Mountain has. Just now, this clan elder was bragging about how impressive the Everlasting Mountain was, but now that Chen Shang was going to expose them, he was going to show everyone what kind of power the Everlasting Mountain was. The elder no longer paid any attention to Chen Shang. Instead, he closed his eyes and endured the anger in his heart, waiting for the arrival of the first true disciple of the Everlasting Mountain. Just then, an old man flew over from afar and landed beside the stage, right beside the Everlasting Mountain elder. It's the leader of the Great Heaven School, Mingguang. Chen Shang had heard Feng Wu talk about the Great Heaven School before, so he recognized the old man. Was it you who killed Huo Yang? Mingguang's voice was filled with anger as he asked in a low voice. Huo Yang was a young and capable disciple of his Great Heaven School. Even the dead Yu Zhen was weaker than him, but now, he had actually been killed by someone. That's right, Chen Shang nodded his head. His voice was calm, as though killing Huo Yang was not a big deal. It made Mingguang even angrier. He wanted to rush forward to take care of Chen Shang, but he controlled his emotions. He was clear about the situation, and Huo Yang had also killed people before. If Huo Yang did not kill before, Chen Shang would have been lenient, and the Great Heaven School and Everlasting Mountain that were in charge of organizing this competition, thought that Huo Yang was very strong, so they did not set any rules. To be able to kill the other party was just reaping what they had reaped. Many of them were representatives sent by the big powers, so if Mingguang were to run up and attack Chen Shang, they would definitely laugh at him. Chen Shang smiled blandly. If the number one true disciple of Everlasting Mountain doesn't come, I don't mind sparring with him. This way, everyone can see how strong he is. If I win, just give me a Zongpin bone level Dan. If he could defeat Great Heaven School, he only needed one Zongpin bone level Dan. This was equivalent to looking down on Mingguang, which angered Mingguang to the extreme. He really wanted to go up there. Bright light, wait, the clan elder of the Everlasting Mountain shouted, don't go up, the number one true disciple of our Everlasting Mountain can take care of him. If you go up and beat him, how will the true disciples of our Everlasting Mountain perform? All right, Mingguang calmed himself down and thought. He was a dignified leader. If he were to make a move here, it would definitely lower his status. Why do I feel that the leader is weaker than the true disciples of the Everlasting Mountain? Chen Shang chuckled. If I defeat Everlasting Mountain's successor disciple, then can I challenge leader? You won't win. The first successor disciple of our Everlasting Mountain isn't just for show. The elder said coldly, you should still recall the good times before you die. You will die very soon. Chen Zhang's goal was to turn the world upside down here, and destroy the matter of the Everlasting Mountain allying with him, so the more he could do it, the bigger it would become. You should have told your successor disciples not to come here. Since he came here, there's only death waiting for them. I won't let you leave here alive. Chen Shang laughed. To kill a Everlasting Mountain's successor disciple only has one Shengpin bone level Dan. This is also quite profitable. If only every single one of the Everlasting Mountain's successor disciples were killed, then all that would be left would be the bone-level Dan as well. Before I die, if I say a few more words that are courting death, it will only make my death worse. The elder glared at Chen Shang coldly, but Chen Shang was smiling, not afraid of him at all. Everyone was maintaining a distance from the stage at this moment. They were worried that they would be affected by the huge battle that was about to erupt, and the scene of Chen Shang killing Huo Yang just now was still clearly played back in their minds. Everyone could see that Chen Shang was very strong, and he did not even use all his strength to kill him. Chen Shang had a fairly good understanding of the Everlasting Mountain. Right now there are no leaders in the Everlasting Mountain. They have already been dug out by him, and although there are experts at the peak of the Dan God Institute and clan of elders, without the leader their strength is still at the bottom among the superpowers of the Star Law Divine Realm. He's here, someone suddenly shouted. In a few blinks of an eye, this golden light landed on the stage and exploded with a golden light. A handsome man wearing a white robe appeared on the stage. Chen Shang immediately used the Dao Hard Eye to look at the other party's bones. The 100 gods level and the 6 bones were very close to the peak. No wonder he was called the #1 true disciple of the Everlasting Mountain. However, Chen Shang felt no pressure at all. He had 14 bones, and adding the 6 realms power that he had condensed from the 6 realms magic Kung Fu, he was much stronger than other people's divine powers. This is the famous Golden Light God King of Everlasting Mountain. He's really powerful. I don't even know how he got here, and the golden light he was emitting was very hot. When I was hit by this kind of golden light, the divine sense became very unstable. The golden divine light is his most powerful technique. It's said that the golden divine flame he uses is even more terrifying, since he's a disciple from the Dan God Institute who can concoct pills and fight. He himself is a pill god and possesses a powerful body. This Everlasting Mountain's #1 inner disciple does indeed live up to his name. Chen Shang heard the discussions of the crowd, and understood the so-called #1 true disciple in the Everlasting Mountain. His name was Jin Shangyao. His father was an elder who was strong in the Dan God Institute, thus he was able to refine pills since young. It is said that he has another name, the Evil Heaven Pill God. He has taught himself a very evil art of alchemy, using living people as support materials. It is said that he will sometimes use a lot of people's hearts. This was especially true for the pure hearts of a boy and a girl. He loved to use them. In the Dan God Institute, there is a group of people who are in charge of collecting this kind of material. Quote. Chapter 2278. Isn't it too vicious for him to use this method? What about the rules of the Star Law Divine Realm? Quote. Those rules are useless against him. After all, no one could say where those hearts came from. There are so many stars in the Star Law Divine Realm, anyone could easily find a pile of stars. No one would care if those weak mortals were killed. Chen Shang heard someone discussing about this matter again. He had actually never heard of it before. Now, many people were talking about it in whispers. It seemed that most of the people near the Everlasting Mountain knew about this matter, but not long after, many people had a very bad impression of Jin Shangyao. Shangyao, kill him. His corpse is yours to dispose of. The elder said. When Jin Shangyao saw Chen Shang, his eyes also lit up. He seemed to have used some sort of secret technique, allowing him to see that Chen Zhang's body was extremely strong. You are not fit to be an alchemist. Chen Shang said coldly. Whether you are worthy or not, it doesn't matter what you say. Moreover, you are already a dead person. Being used by me as a material to refine pills is a blessing that you won't be able to cultivate even in 8 lifetimes. Dying by my hands can be considered your luck. Jin Shangyao laughed coldly. Your physical body is not bad, no wonder you could easily kill Huo Yang. The clan elder of the Everlasting Mountain suddenly shouted, begin. Chen Shang was originally planning to say a few words, but Jin Shangyao had already turned into a golden light and flew over. From afar, his body looked like a golden sword, fiercely thrusting towards Chen Zhang's throat. Humph! Chen Shang did not avoid them. Instead, he extended his hand and used 2 fingers to poke at them. These 2 fingers of his carried a terrifying heat. Jin Shangyao was very clear about flames. At this moment he felt a sudden anger coming from ahead. He was about to get close to Chen Shang, but he stopped in time, and in a flash, he arrived at the side of the fighting arena. He was shocked. He could not imagine what would happen if he was poked by the 2 fingers. With regards to the fear of the flames, Jin Shangyao could not hide it at all. His face was filled with fear, which made everyone puzzled, because they only saw Chen Shang jabbing his finger 2 times without doing anything, which scared Jin Shangyao to the point of forcing him to retreat. Even the elders and leaders of the Everlasting Mountain found it hard to understand. This was because none of them had sensed just how terrifying the flames Chen Zhang's fingertips were. Only Jin Shangyao could clearly feel that the coercion that was released by the flames was causing the flames in his body to tremble, as if he was seeing the emperor within the flames. Yue, how did you manage to cultivate such a flame? Jin Shangyao looked at the motionless Chen Shang in the distance and roared loudly. This fear was something only he himself knew. It came from the fear in his soul. When Jin Shangyao saw Chen Shang standing there in a daze, he felt strange in his heart. That kind of flame that made his soul tremble suddenly appeared again, and right in his vicinity. Chen Shang had actually come to his back. You're dead. Chen Zhang's finger lightly tapped at the back of Jin Shangyao's head and Jin Shangyao felt as if everything in his divine sense was ignited. After his divine deity was combusted, they all exploded one after another. The flames Chen Shang used could burn everything, including anything within the divine sense. Jin Shangyao's divine sense was merely injected with that flame by Chen Shang, and in a few short moments it was completely destroyed. Jin Shangyao felt a splitting headache, but he had already seen the Chen Shang who was previously standing far away from him. This attack of Chen Zhang's was using the Chuangshi God Furnace to release a strong flame, and then using a method inside the heavenly alchemy, it transformed into an illusory fire, attacking into Jin Shangyao's divine sense. Towards Jin Shangyao, this kind of vicious pill god, Chen Shang had always been able to kill as much as he wanted. The moment Jin Shangyao fell to his knees, the elders of the Everlasting Mountain and the leader who had wanted to give him light all realized that Jin Shangyao had been defeated. They all made their moves, and the elders at the side of the fighting stage immediately rushed over. However, the moment they charged over, they saw Chen Zhang's fist transform into a roaring fire dragon, and punch towards Jin Shangyao's head. The instant the fire dragon roared, it released a burst of surging flames, shrouding Jin Shangyao who was kneeling on the ground. Roar A.'s fire dragon fist brought along the flames released by the Chuangshi God Furnace, turning Jin Shangyao entire person into smoke, not even ashes remained. Kill him. Right now, they did not care about being scolded by others anymore. After having 2 outstanding disciples killed consecutively by Chen Shang, they had already been laughed at. Chen Shang was still very calm up till now. Seeing the balls of light and the divine tools around, he teleported into the sky and formed a seal with his hands, causing the ground to suddenly shake. Heavenly Dragon Seal, Ground Dragon Sacrifice. Roar, roar, roar. Everyone heard a muffled dragon roar that seemed to come from the ground. At this moment, the area around the fighting stage was slightly protruding. Run, someone shouted. Roar, a deafening roar suddenly exploded out. It came from the ground. A moment ago, a huge gash had appeared in the ground, and several huge, flaming dragons had shot up from below. Myriad dragons sacrifice the heavens. Chen Shang then used his heavenly dragon seal, and all kinds of angry dragons suddenly dropped from the sky, like thunder, like the wind, or like the surging river, constantly striking the elders below. This guy is from Divine Dragon Race. An old man shouted in fear. The death of the Divine Dragon Race. Ming Guang's hair was in a mess right now. He had actually ran up into the sky, holding onto a large sword. He slashed out at Chen Shang, instantly producing a myriad of red sword chi, like a tidal wave that swept up the ocean, enveloping Chen Shang. Cloud and sky constellation. Chen Shang used his heavenly vision technique. His body suddenly turned into mist, and although the sword chi pierced through his body, it was not able to harm him. Following that, he teleported behind Ming Guang. The heavenly magic sword was already in his hands. Die. Chen Shang swung out his sword, causing Ming Guang's body to split into 2. Chen Shang immediately grabbed his head, then violently unleashed devouring magic Kung Fu, devouring Ming Guang's memories. So that's how it is. After Chen Shang found what he wanted from Ming Guang's memories, he threw a fire cloud palm towards Ming Guang's body which was now hanging in the air. Ming Guang's body, upon coming in contact with the huge palm, instantly vaporized. The big palm fell to the ground like a mountain, a wave of fire spread in all directions, the entire Great Heaven School was immediately engulfed by the sea of fire. Chapter 2279. Everyone floated in the air, staring at the calm and composed Chen Shang, their hearts overwhelmed with shock. Chen Shang simply wasn't here to ruin everything, but was here to annihilate the entire clan. The entire Great Heaven School, including the entire leader, were all killed by a single palm strike just now. Many disciples of the Great Heaven School had escaped this calamity as well, but their leader and a few elders had already died, and the entire Great Heaven School had been burnt to ashes. He actually ran away. For a dignified elder of the Everlasting Mountain to abandon his allies and flee, that is truly funny. Let me see who among the Wang Ancient Heavenly Star would dare to form an alliance with you. Chen Shang looked at the few human figures that had disappeared and laughed coldly. They are just some shrimp soldiers and crab generals anyway, so you all won't be able to recall anything even if you live. You all will die sooner or later. Chen Shang used the space wind to leave, and everyone kept their distance from Great Heaven School. What happened today made many people feel that the Everlasting Mountain had declined. The elders of the Everlasting Mountain were beaten to the point of fleeing, while the allies that had just been allied with them were destroyed without any reaction at all. No one could understand that the Everlasting Mountain was one of the great powers in the Star Law Divine Realm, to think that they would be provoked in such a way. But no one knew that the inner sect of the Everlasting Mountain had already decayed. Those inner sect disciples were all very precious, even going to beat the special god beast is afraid of death, not to mention encountering an expert's siege. Therefore, they only dared to bully people weaker than them. As for leader, the only one who had the strength and wanted to accomplish great things in the sect, he had been tricked until his heart turned cold when he saw that Dan God Institute and the Elders' Courtyard had joined together to fight against him. Now that he had pledged his allegiance to Chen Shang, Everlasting Mountain had indeed fallen quite a bit. When Chen Shang returned to the Kang Cloud City's villa, there were actually a lot more people here, over 100 people. These people were all disciples who had once entered the inner sect through the outer sect examination. Here, Chen Shang even saw the little clan elder that brought him to Wang Ancient Heavenly Star, Lin Shuyi. Lin Shuyi was also surprised. He did not expect that the person he had recruited would now be his big brother. Other than that, there were also the few elders in charge of taking care of the affairs of the outer sect, such as the old man in charge of supervising the killing of special god beast. These were all outer sect disciples with relatively strong abilities. They did not want to stay in the inner sect, so they ran over to do some work in the outer sect. From chatting with them, Chen Shang found out that they were all brought here by Dai Donggong. Back then, they owed Dai Donggong a favor and Dai Donggong had promised them that he had enough bone-level Dan-s to help them. Chen Shang never expected that so many people would come so suddenly. He distributed the Zongpin bone-level Dan-s and finished them all very quickly. It was just enough for now. There are only these godly pills for now. I have already sent people to collect the divine medicine. As long as they come back, I can immediately refine the pills. Presumably, everyone already had their own residences here, so they would first return to cultivate bones. It might not be long before we start to enter the battlefield. Chen Shang said. Chen Shang had distributed quite a number of bone-level Dan, and everyone was very satisfied. They had only just arrived, yet they had already obtained quite a few, and the quality was even better. When they were in the inner sect of Everlasting Mountain, they were bleeding and sweating for many years. Speaking of entering the battlefield, the people here weren't the least bit afraid. They had already experienced life and death situations who knew how many times over the years, so this was just a common occurrence for him. When the Great Heaven School was exterminated, the elders of the Everlasting Mountain fled in panic. Not only was this news spread throughout the Wang Ancient Heavenly Star, even the most well-informed stars in the entire Star Law Divine Realm knew about it. As one of the big shots of the Star Law Divine Realm, the one who dominated the entire Heaven Stage stars, how could he be so embarrassed? After a few days, Dai Donggong was finally back, and was even bringing a cute girl with a round face. This girl had a long braid, and was nervously playing with the long whip in front of her chest. "This is your daughter." Chen Shang laughed, and extended his hand to touch the girl's face, and she immediately blushed. Dai Xiaoru, this is the name her mother gave her. Dai Donggong lovingly caressed his daughter's head. With one glance, one could tell that she was only 14 or 15 when she was poisoned, but now, she had actually slept for such a long time. "Big brother, thank you for the antidote pill." Dai Xiaoru raised her head to look at Chen Shang, and realized that Chen Shang was very handsome, with a slight smile on his face. "There's no need to be polite. It's fine now." Chen Shang laughed. "From now on, it's like you're at home." Feng Wu. Chen Shang called Feng Wu over, and then, he told him everything simply so that this was Dai Donggong's daughter. After all, there were many men here, and only Feng Wu was a woman. Xiao, I'll bring you around to get familiar with this place. Feng Wu knew that Chen Shang and Dai Donggong had something to say, so he left while holding onto Dai Xiaoru's hand. Dai Donggong was still worried, as he watched Feng Wu and Dai Xiaoru leave. Senior, you don't have to worry about that. Our location is very hidden and there are quite a few powerful people here. This place is very safe. Chen Shang said. Dai Donggong sighed and nodded. When she was poisoned earlier, it made a shadow in my heart. Chen Shang and Dai Donggong entered the hall. On my way back, I already found out about what happened in the Great Heaven School. Dai Donggong laughed. It seems like your strength is stronger than I expected. Senior, most of the outer sect disciples are already here, there is no need for you to return to Everlasting Mountain. Of course, if we have the chance in the future, we will return to the Everlasting Mountain, but we need to drive away that group of people first. Chen Shang said, you can continue to be a leader here, and my main job is to concoct pills. Leader, it's better if you do it, I will be the great clan elder. It will make me feel better. Dai Donggong laughed, looks like you're going to be a shopkeeper after all, this is good too. After all, you're a pill god and you need to concoct pills all day. That's right, although we don't have many people left, we still need to consume a lot of Supreme Dan beads. When the divine medicine arrives, I will have to go into seclusion to refine it. Chen Shang said, Great Clan Elder, do you know of any formation masters? For now, this place will be our resting place. We need to prepare our defenses. Quote. Dai Donggong frowned, then stood up and walked to the entrance of the Great Hall, and spoke with a serious tone, there is, but it depends on whether or not I can invite him here. He's also in Kang Cloud City, I'll go look for him now, wait a moment. Quote. Chapter 2280. After Dai Donggong left, Chen Shang pondered for a while. To think that there would be such an expert hidden in the Kang Cloud City, and a familiar face suddenly appeared in his mind. Feng Wu and Chen Shang had asked him about many things, and each time, they would have a huge harvest. Chen Shang suspected that the person Dai Donggong was looking for was this old man. Originally, his relationship with the Everlasting Mountain S were not bad. However, later on, a few conflicts occurred and they did not even meet each other anymore. Uaa thought of that old man. This guy had held that trade fair before. It seems like people often ask about things from him. That's why he brought these people together. But how did he know? Quote. He seems to know a lot of things. This requires a lot of manpower to collect these things. Could he be a? Chen Shang was suddenly surprised. There is only one possibility, this guy is from the undead divine race. The heaven extended method of the undead divine race was very powerful, and could be considered a lot of things. When using it, one would lose their lifespan, but the lifespan of the undead divine race was almost limitless, so they were not worried about using it recklessly. He should be one of the more powerful sky spill masters in the undead divine race, if not he would not have been so easily killed. Although Huang Jintian and the others are all heaven extended method S, they are still much weaker than the old sky spill grandmasters in the undead divine race. Little Moon said, this heavenly evolution master's technique can calculate a lot of things with a single finger pinch. It doesn't take a very long time. Chen Shang had previously seen Huang Jintian and Huang Yantian using the heaven extended method to calculate, but they both required the support of a treasure. Let's go. Won't we know if we go and take a look? Uaa smiled. Chen Shang had the same thought, but he did not immediately take action. He went to find Huang Jintian and told him about it. Really, I have calculated it several times with that stupid big brother of mine, but I could not calculate that there is a clan member of the undead divine race above the Wang ancient heavenly star. Huang Jintian was a little surprised. But from what you're saying, it's very likely that he's actually our undead divine race's grandmaster, Sky Spill. This kind of guy can also avoid us from searching for him, but why would he hide from us? Master, let's go take a look. Maybe this guy thinks it's safer this way. He's one of the few who survived the disaster. Chen Shang laughed. What's more, it's just our guesses, maybe not. Huang Jintian followed Chen Shang out of the villa, and headed towards the alley where the old man was. The reason why Chen Shang pulled Huang Jintian along was to make it easier for Huang Jintian to confirm. Although Uaa possessed the bloodline of the undead divine race, she didn't have much of a bloodline power, so she couldn't sense it. However, Huang Jintian was different. Not long after, Chen Shang and Huang Jintian arrived at the small alley, and Chen Shang could already feel Dai Donggong's aura. This was just as he had guessed before. The formation master Dai Donggong wanted to rope in, was indeed the old man who did everything. Master, can you feel his aura? Chen Shang asked. I can't sense him. If he's really a Grand Master, then I can't easily sense him. Furthermore, I haven't met him yet. Huang Jintian said, but I can actually feel Dai Donggong's qi. When they reached the end of the small alley, Chen Shang and Huang Jintian entered the small house and saw Dai Donggong sitting opposite of the old man. Dai Donggong was surprised to see Chen Shang here, but the old man did not. Obviously, he knew that Chen Shang and Huang Jintian would come here. Is this the god of pills you spoke of? The old man looked at Chen Shang. Hello, old sir. We meet again. Chen Shang laughed. I never thought that I was actually right. His name is Wu Ji, and our master is a good friend. Dai Donggong sighed. A trace of shame could be seen on his face. It was obvious that he felt guilty about Wu Ji's master. Chen Shang nodded. At this time, Wu Ji looked at Huang Jintian, but it was only a very dull look. Senior Wu, compared to the elder Dai, I think you should have heard a lot of things. Chen Shang said, if Senior Wu is to join us, we will definitely have great accomplishments in the future. You can refine the King Grade God Pellet? Wu Ji asked directly. I also only know how to refine 3 Lotus Dan, because my wife was poisoned and required this kind of divine pill to cure her illness. I came to the Star Law Divine Realm from a long way away. Chen Shang said truthfully. Then do you know how to refine Type and Bone Level Dan? Wu Ji asked again. He was obviously moved, but he wanted to confirm if Chen Shang was really that great at pill refining. He was very clear about what Chen Shang had done during the trade fair, and he was very curious about Chen Shang a long time ago. If Senior has the Type and Bone Level Dan's medicinal ingredients, I can refine a cauldron for you to see. Chen Shang was extremely confident. He could have refined it a long time ago, but the Type and Bone Level Dan's divine medicine was rather hard to obtain. I'm not a pill god, how would I know the recipe for Bone Level Dan? Where can I go to get the Bone Level Dan's divine medicine? Wu Ji laughed. This is the Type and Bone Level Dan I refined. Chen Shang took one and threw it over. Wu Ji had asked Chen Shang for the Bone Level Dan before, but it was only low quality. He still had the Bone Level Dan with him now, so it wasn't hard for him to tell that the Type and Bone Level Dan was refined by the same person as the shopping Bone Level Dan. Alright, I'll join you. However, you must first agree to the treatment that you are going to give me. Wu Ji returned the Bone Level Dan back to Chen Shang. Please speak. Chen Shang lacked people as powerful as Wu Ji right now. His intelligence was especially important to him. Only you and I know about this treatment. Wu Ji looked at Dai Donggong and Huang Jintian. Dai Donggong immediately stood up and walked out of the small house. Huang Jintian also left at the same time. Wu Ji was a formation master. He slammed the table and the table immediately released a ray of light, turning into a barrier that enveloped the entire hall. What condition? Chen Shang asked. First of all, I have to ask you, do you know the identity of that old man who just walked in with you? Wu Ji asked solemnly, causing Chen Shang to be secretly shocked. He was certain that the elder had already seen through Huang Jintian's identity as a undead divine race. He's my master, and we've been together for many years. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be where I am today. Chen Shang said as he frowned. You really don't know him? Wu Ji continued to ask. I'm not concerned about your relationship with him, I'm only concerned about whether or not you understand him. Alright, he's from the undead divine race, and he's also a sky spill master. Chen Shang said. You actually know about it? Wu Ji was a little surprised.